is a nice copper coin, but Doug, do you know what time it is?
45 up.
Who says 45 of, Doug? It's quarter after. What's up, guys? Quarter Order here, and welcome to a fun special quarter after. It should be an exciting night. Our good friends Ken, Tony, and Jeff were on the premiere episode last night of Expedition Unknown with Josh Gates. Super popular show on Discovery Channel, representing the detecting community, and we got them on exclusively the very next night. So I'm really looking forward to them. We're going to hear some behind the scenes, what it was like being on a big mega blockbuster show, how the crew treated them, did they have to sleep in a tent on the ground, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited that they're going to be on, and they're going to come on right at 7:30 in about 15 minutes. So I'll bring them on in a second. Let me say a couple hellos, kill a little bit of time, let people come on in. I see Proven Ground Exploration, welcome. Relic Rat, Recovering Artifacts Together, how are you, sir? Audrey Girlinghouse, Crazy Diggin', Sue Ramsey, Louisiana Mud Dog. I'm trying to scroll here. Mike Benjamin, David Link, everybody. I'm sure I'll try to get you. I'm going to really try to watch the chat here tonight. Hot Mess Fishing, my good friend Alicia is here and moderating. Thank you very much. I also want to make a special shout out to our buddy Jay Cook, who we hunt with once in a while. I think he made a video or two with us. He's in the hospital. I heard he's doing better. He might be getting out tomorrow. So shout out to Jay. I hope you're back on your feet soon, brother. Clem Fandango is here from good old New Hampshire, USA. Besides Tony, Jeff, and Ken, we've got a shorter host today because Doug's at his grandson's baseball game. Rich had a 4th of July barbecue. Lynn is away. So it's host-wise, it's only going to be me and this handsome devil here, Charlie, the Heritage Relic Hunter. How are you, Charlie?
Thank you for the compliment. I needed that.
I clicked the wrong button. I meant to bring Tony in when I said handsome guy, so I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'll still take it.
How you been, Charlie?
Pretty good. Relaxing here. It was another hot day.
Oh, man, it's been tough. Yeah, we got a good spot for this weekend, but it's going to be 92, humid. So wear your Speedos again, buddy.
It's a good time to be at the beach, right?
Did you know, Charlie, that today is the 162nd anniversary of a famous event that you have ties to? Not that you were there personally. Yeah. What is the event, Charlie?
Well, it's Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And the actual, as far as my great-grandfather, July 2nd was the big day that he was involved in, July 2nd, when he was at the base of Little Round Top.
And don't you still have like his uniform or something from that day?
Yes, I have quite a few historical things that were passed down to me. Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. That was your great-grandfather?
My great-grandfather, yes. My grandfather's dad. He was born in 1837. And he fought at Gettysburg, Antietam, and quite a few of the other battles in, down south. Yeah.
And he made it home at the end of the war, right?
Yeah, he made it home. When we used to visit these battlefields, the guide would say to me, and he lived? They say, and he lived? Because he was at some pretty bad places that, the death rate was pretty high. But he made it through.
Maybe he's like me when I play my son's Fortnite game where I just hide in the bush and wait for people to walk by and shoot him in the back.
Possibly. I don't know. But
hey, man, you're trying to get home to your family. You know what I mean?
But everybody should go out to Gettysburg, visit Gettysburg sometime. It's a beautiful national park. It really is. Well kept, well maintained, and it's just gorgeous out that way.
Yeah, it's been several years since I've been out there, but it is really nice. The gift shop's great. You walk out and you see Pickett's Charge and a Little Round Top. And, when you know what happened there and the guide's telling you about it, right? It's just incredible to picture whatever it was, 140,000 people, brothers,
it was crazy,
fighting each other. It's a real surreal place. I do recommend going there if you're
absolutely
into any sort of history or anything like that.
But I'm glad to be on tonight's show. I watched it last night to the Discovery Channel, and anxious to find out from the three boys that what they went through.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was a little nervous because, I was telling you before the show, I cut my cable years ago, so I don't really have cable television anymore. So knowing that they had an episode on, I bought the Discovery app for a month. So I figured, all right, I'll stream it on my big screen, through the app. But even though the show aired at 9:00, 9:00 comes around, I open my app, it's not there. So I'm like, oh, maybe it comes on after it airs. So 10:00, I try again, not there. 11:00, not there. And I'm like, oh no. So I woke up this morning at like 7 a.m. I check again, still not there. And I'm thinking, oh man, I got the show.
You got these guests coming on. You didn't even see
I gotta watch it. So I'm thinking, like, who do I know that still has like a cable? And then luckily around noon, the Discovery app dropped the show, so I was able to. I watched it through once, and then I went back, and then I watched it a little more intently to come up with some questions. The guys did great. I was really, I was proud to be associated with them. They really represented well. They did a really good job. I got some super interesting questions, tidbits, facts that we'll jump into when they come on.
Okay.
But have you ever seen that show before, Charlie? Expedition?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Yes. I don't watch it on a regular basis, but I've seen it before.
Yeah, 15 seasons, something like that. So, I mean, that's a pretty successful show.
Yeah.
And looking at some of the pictures that, the guys have been posting the last couple of days, big crew. I mean, I don't know how many. They'll have to answer. It looked like at least maybe 10 people or more, sound guys, camera guys, directors, writers. I mean, real big, fancy production. So I'm curious, like, do you do that in one take? Do you find, I don't want to say what they found, but do you find something and then they go, all right, well, there was a weird sun glare. Let's find it again. Like that kind of stuff. So I'm really curious to hear, how that goes because, these guys aren't actors. They're like us. They're regular guys. So
exactly,
when you have to act and find something again, it might come off as cheesy and not authentic because that's not what we do.
Well, I'm sure they did not put makeup on.
I don't know. They might have had to
really? We'll find out. We'll find out if they had to put makeup on before they went to
detecting. You put makeup on for my weekly show. What are you talking
about? that's the chocolate from my candy bar. That's not makeup.
I see Charlie in the back. Gotta have them red lips.
Jason, that's just on weekends.
Okay. But it looks good though. I'm really excited to have him on. We're gonna bring him on in 5 minutes. I'm waiting for the Facebook feed just to try to get a lot of people in here. So no, I was real excited for him. And I mentioned it a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago, when Ken first posted that they were on the show, because I guess they had an NDA and they couldn't let the cat out of the bag too early.
Exactly.
But like a couple days before Ken posted it, I was watching on Netflix this show about the Forest Fen treasure. It was called, I wrote it down. It was called Gold and Greed, The Hunt for Fen's Treasure.
Oh.
And I remember when all that Forest Fen stuff was going on, like around COVID time, give or take. So I'm watching this show anyway on Netflix, and I'm on my phone as I'm watching it, like half paying attention, and I hear Ken's voice. I'm like, what was that? So I look up and it was gone. So I had to rewind a little bit. But on that Netflix special, they used a little segment of one of Ken's shows. It might have even been from Relics Radio that Ken and Tony do together. But they used a little excerpt from them. So I'm thinking, man, these guys have got on like 2 television shows in a month. That's pretty impressive, Charlie.
Very impressive.
I don't even know. I'm assuming that Ken and Tony knew about the Forest Fen. I don't even know if they told him or just, it was such a short segment. They might just grabbed it and ran.
Right. I'll have to watch that. You said it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it was interesting. It just goes over the whole story, but a lot more involved. They get the Fen family involved.
Right.
They show you some of the people that were hunting for it for years and, we're sure it was here or we're sure it was there and, what they had to go through and then it wasn't there. And, it was still, it was interesting. It was a good show.
Right.
And then ultimately, I don't want to ruin the show. if you didn't see it yet on Netflix. But there was a really good ending too, where the person that found it is now doing something to pay it forward to the next generation. So
Okay.
it's worth a watch if you haven't seen it yet. Again, on Netflix, called Gold and Greed: The Hunt for Fenn's Treasure.
Right. And I think people should also watch the show called The Dig.
Oh, I saw that with the ship, with the
Viking
ship or something.
Yes, and I know Jeff's on tonight. Jeff was out there with us to actually see the location over in England when Jeff went out there with detecting with the group.
Yeah, when you went to England for your week-long detecting trip over there, Jeff was part of your group, right?
Yes, Jeff was there with us. Yes.
One of you guys found a gold coin that trip.
That was Raymond Jones.
I was Raymond found one. Okay.
Raymond found a gold coin. Yeah, King Edward, I think it was the second.
You know what's funny about that is, when you got home, you were telling me about the finds. You said you did not find a Roman coin, and that's what you were hoping for.
Yeah.
But within 2 weeks of you coming back, we got on a field in New Jersey, and you dug a Roman coin in that field.
Yes.
How crazy is that?
Real crazy.
And at least it didn't have to go to the finds liaison in New Jersey. You just put it in your pocket.
And that same field, I found a hammered coin from England.
Yeah.
That same field. But I had hammered from when I was on my trip. I did find one there in England. I found one here from England, in that same field where the Roman coin was. Crazy.
Yeah, we called that the Cobb Field. We did so well there. But as good as all the 1600 stuff that we found was incredible, you popping that Roman coin out of nowhere was just like shell shock. So, all right, I see all the gang in the green room, Charlie. I'm gonna bring them in.
Okay.
So again, if you didn't see the show last night, you might get some spoilers today, but you're still going to want to check it out and enjoy it. If you're not familiar with it, it's called Expedition Unknown with host Josh Gates. Like I said, 15 seasons strong now. And the guys got on episode 3. It premiered for the first time last night on Discovery. So let's hear all about it from the gang themselves. We're going to bring in our good friends, Tony, Jeff, and DK Ken King himself. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Hey, cheers. Welcome.
Hello. I really enjoyed the show. I got so many questions. I know Tony's got some pictures. I caught some of your show last week, and then on American Digger you did a show, but until it aired, you really weren't allowed to spill the beans. So I'm hoping now you got a little more leeway, and we can dive into some more of like, what happened when the cameras weren't rolling?
Hey, wait a minute, Jason. Let's. Did you sign the waiver with my agent?
I know. Ken wants me to call him Ken Big Daddy King now.
Yeah, I thought you guys were supposed to rise when you brought us in.
I know.
Isn't that how that's supposed to work?
When Ken comes in.
Come on.
No, it's pretty. No, you know what I will say though, Ken. Hold on, let me bring this up. I'll do this a little out of order because this is kind of an exciting thing. I don't know if you knew this or not. I'm going to bring this up full screen, but as of this morning, that episode from last night now has its IMDb page on their database. And only Jeff Lubbert's name is mentioned in the can. Only Jeff.
Oh, where's my agent? Where's my agent?
Blasphemy.
Jeff, did you know you have an IMDb reference now?
I had no clue.
Not only a reference, but if you can see on the picture, your name is actually a hyperlink, which takes you to the Jeff Lubbert page on IMDb.
God, we're never going to live this down.
Oh, yeah, you are officially like the big guru of the group.
Gosh. You sure we're not? Are we listed as cronies?
I double checked
Jeff's cronies
before the show.
Actually, it says those other guys.
Yeah, we're the other guys. We're the red shirt guys.
Well, I have a question about why he might be on there, and I'm going to get to that as the show unfolds. So I got my questions in a logical order, so I want to start at the beginning. I know you covered some of this already, but for the new audience, they might not have heard it. How did this opportunity come to you guys? If you can tell me how the cast reached out to you or vice versa, How'd that go down? And I'm going to pose this to Mr. Jeff Lubbert because I think he was instrumental in getting this accomplished.
Yes.
Yeah, they got a hold of me. I'm not sure how they got my name, but I know I've heard from other people that they look up metal detecting in Denver that my name pops up for this and for that, for the other thing. So they did contact me via phone first, and I was in the airport in Destin, Florida, if I remember right, waiting for my flight, and I get this oddball phone call, and I just think it's spam, so I just let it go to voicemail. About 2 or 3 minutes later, I get a text that comes in, and I look at it. It says that, this is so-and-so, the producer for Expedition Unknown. And I personally am a fan of Expedition Unknown and watched it for years. I haven't watched it as much in the past couple of years, but I watched it from year 1 probably through year 6 religiously, and really enjoyed Josh and his sense of humor and the things like, he just seems like he has a good personality. So I look at this text and I look at my girlfriend, Stephanie. I was like, whoa, wait a second. And I go, it's a second. I got to go take this phone call. I went around the corner to a bathroom because it was quieter. And I call him back and I was like, okay. And he's like, hey, we're getting ready to film an episode in Colorado. It's going to be filmed in like 10 days. And, do you have a couple buddies or a buddy or a couple of buddies that you can get to go along? I was like, sure. Let me do some checking quick. And went back and talked to my girlfriend, Stephanie. And next thing you know, it's like, she's like, yeah, Ken and Tony, did, great personalities, got the look, all that stuff, got the voices. They can detect like crazy, so I was like, perfect. Okay, let's do that. So I think I called up Ken because I don't think I might have had Tony's phone number, but Ken was, DK. He comes first in the alphabet before Tony. Further down the list.
You didn't go by height because Tony's taller.
He definitely is taller. So yeah, I called up Ken's like, hey, this opportunity is coming up. Would you guys be interested? And they're like, we need to do this on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm like, we all have jobs.
Yeah.
We all have real deal.
They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah,
they're in Colorado for 3 days, 5 days. I have no idea how long they're in town for. And then I'm like, all right. So I pass this information off to Tony, and he's like, all right, or off to Ken. He's like, yeah, let me call Tony. And next thing you know, it's like, we're trying. All right, we'll do it. We got this. All right. So I call him back. Yep, got a team. We're good. Wednesday, Thursday. But I don't remember how many days later was it, Tony? A day or two later, they're like texting me back and going, well, can we do it on Thursday, Friday?
They're wishy-washy. Yeah.
And they're like, I'm like, oh,
Non-committal.
man, it's like, we already took days off. We all went in immediately and said, hey, we need this time off, Wednesday, Thursday of this week, whatever it was, this first week in October, whatever, second week in October, I guess. And then it was like, another day later is like, we only need you on Friday. I was like, okay, well, this is getting weirder all the time. And is this still real?
Is it gonna happen?
Is it gonna happen? And is this real? Is some guy just playing us?
Yeah.
Really didn't know for sure, but you know what? It all came together. We all met up there that Thursday night, up in Estes Park, and I got up there late because I had work, silly work thing getting in the way again. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, we were at the brewery waiting for Jeff to get there, and we just had to wait and wait. So, I mean,
and I got there just before they closed.
So I don't know. I think Ken might be having some technical difficulties. Hopefully he can square it away. But so Tony, I'll just go to you. You're sitting at home, you get a call from your buddy, Jeff, thinking he just wants to talk about the baseball game or something. And he says, hey, Tony, do you want to join me on an episode of Expedition Unknown? Like, what were you thinking? Like, did you think he was just joking around?
It always starts the same way, right? Have you ever heard of Expedition Unknown? I mean, you got to preface the question, right? I'm like,
yep.
Yeah, who hasn't, right? I mean, everybody's heard of Josh Gates and Expedition Unknown. So, the obvious answer was absolutely. I love the show. Never miss an episode. Well, hey, we've got an opportunity that we can, they want us to be on an episode with them. Well,
Let me
think.
Where do I sign?
Let me think. I don't know. Do you think you can take some time off of work? I'm calling in sick. I'm calling in dead. I'll just quit my job. Whatever it takes, I'm going to be there.
Yeah. No,
So
that's
absolutely.
I mean, I would have been thrilled. I mean, you make that work. I mean, how many opportunities do you get something like this? I know that you and Ken had done some sort of, you said like a BBC show in the past. I don't know if it aired over here in the States or not. Jeff, have you had any opportunities like this in the past where you've done something for like a really big syndication or broadcast?
In the past, I did a episode of Forensic Files.
Oh, cool. Oh, so this is old hat for you.
It's been a few years though.
They're just updating his IMDb page then, Tony. I thought they created it's just updating it.
And I just got done doing a documentary that's coming out of New Zealand. Did a voiceover for that one as well.
Wow, look at you.
Got released. So yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. So you go out to location once everything works out, you take off, you head out there. How long were you on location? Did they put you in a hotel? Did you have to sleep on the ground in a tent? How did they treat you leading up to the filming?
They put us up in a hotel, and it was a decent hotel. It wasn't anything really fancy. It wasn't the fanciest one in town by any means, but nice hotel. We actually stayed there with the crew. They all had their separate rooms. Everyone had their own separate rooms. So
yeah.
Oh, all three of you guys had your own room.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had actually asked us. They asked us, "Do you want?" So they knew we were recording on Friday. Did you want to come up Thursday night? They're gonna give us one night in the hotel. Do you want to come up Thursday night, or do you want to do the full day recording, stay there Friday night? And they kind of gave us that option so we could make a personal decision and choice for ourselves. But they booked it all for us and everything. There was no issues. All three of us, we chose to go up Thursday night. After work, take off Friday. Like a long weekend. Go up Thursday night, and that way, I mean, our intent, I know exactly why everybody decided that was we're going to get up at the buck crack of dawn. We're going to be out there as soon as possible, and get out there and let's get going on this thing. So,
exactly.
We all got up there, Thursday. Ken and I had dinner at a brewery. We're waiting for Jeff. He showed up, and we all kind of went to bed. And then the next morning we got up, and they had breakfast, at the hotel. You can eat before you leave. And we're all, standing in line, getting our, scrambled eggs and sausage and all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, we're standing next to all the crew guys. And
we didn't know it.
Hi.
We didn't
know.
No
clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all come wandering in.
Badges, I guess, right?
No. I work for Expedition Unknown. It doesn't say that.
No, but I think all three of us were wearing metal detector shirts of some sort.
Right.
Yeah.
They probably made us before we made them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure they probably saw what was going on.
Yeah.
So did you guys? So Friday morning comes up. You have breakfast. Once you figured out who the crew was, is there some sort of a meeting where they say, "All right, guys, this is what we're doing today"? The full episode was about Buffalo Bill Cody. There was a segment in the beginning where they're looking for his grave. They were alluding to where they say he's buried, may or may not be where he's buried. And then the episode kind of splits into a second mystery where they're looking for these hidden cases of whiskey that may have been buried by Bill Cody and, hold on, I got his name, Wyndham Quinn, the 4th Earl of Dunraven.
Yeah. Very good. You nailed it.
I wrote it down, Tony. But that's where you guys came in. They wanted you to try to help locate these whiskey bottles that were buried in like crates, at least that was the legend. Did they tell you beforehand so that you knew what you were doing, what you'd be looking for? And are you stressed out thinking, well, heck, I'm just listening for nails, like 4 nails in the corner of a wooden box. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, they did let us know that we're looking for whiskey bottles. They didn't know, or whiskey. They said buried whiskey. And so our thought process was it could be in a cask, aka a barrel with the barrel hoops. And we know I've dug barrel hoops at 2.5, 3 feet before.
I've dug deep ones also.
Yeah. And they're great to give you an amazing signal. But if it's in just a crate like what they showed on the TV, dang, man, there may not be much nails at all. 3, 4 nails in each corner, 2 or 3 in each one, maybe nails around the lid. If they did that,
yeah,
I don't know. So yeah, we were trying to find anything and everything. So it was literally discrimination's wide open and detectors wide open. So it was dig it all.
So on the way out there to the site, I guess they told you, what this premise is, what we're going to talk about, what we're looking for. Because when Josh I wish I had some screen pictures, but you can't. Every time I tried to take a screenshot, Discovery has this encryption that blocks it. So you can't even take a screenshot. Tony may have had some, I think.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Let's look at this one real quick.
Yeah, if you can share one from the meeting beforehand. Let's see what he's got here. I'll make this full screen. What are we looking at here, Tony?
Yeah, so this was actually at the end of the day. It wasn't prior to, but I think you had talked about, having a crew that, that was assembled with us. And obviously we've got the stranger here. I think his name was Justin or Josh or something like that.
Jebediah. It was Jebediah.
Jebediah, that was it. Ken, Jeff, and I. And then this was another main character. He actually lived at the location. He grew up at the location for most of his life. So he kind of knew the story of this Lord Dunraven. And, and I guess how the story goes was he bought up a lot of Estes Park in an attempt to make it this grand hunting location. I mean, the wildlife in Estes Park is absolutely insane. So he wanted to have all these celebrities come out to Colorado and do all these big game hunts and everything. So the guy actually built a cabin, a hunting cabin, and then he built a hotel and like a mess hall, a restaurant kind of area, and things like that. So we're on the site where the cottage was. Then we've got I think he was a producer. He was a producer. We've got camera guys. This is the sound guy. Archaeologists right here. And then who am I missing here?
There's like
the woman in front of you, Tony. The woman in front of you.
Yep, that's Jan. She's a landowner, and that's her husband.
Oh, so they own the land where this cabin sits today.
Yeah, it's private property, personally owned.
I figured, and I saw it was on the historic registry.
It is.
Were there any sort of restrictions or any explicit things where you guys you can only dig over here? I don't want you guys over. Was there anything like that, or did you kind of have free reign of the place?
Yeah, they had told us, they had metal detected back behind the cottage, maybe off on whatever direction it was, just a small little area they had detected before. But other than that, they're like, we haven't detected anywhere on the property. And as far as we know, nobody's ever been up here to detect before. So we kind of knew where the property lines are and areas that they really wanted to concentrate on, makes good video for viewing, and that kind of different things. So we really focused on staying out front and then off to the side where the woods were,
right.
Which is, and we'll pull up some more pictures here of as we go. But, that was the whole crew. That was it. I mean, we had a drone guy, you had 3 cameras, the audio guy, and the rest of us.
That's a great shot too. Look at that beautiful mountain range in the background.
Yeah.
It almost looks like it was photoshopped in there.
The sun was behind the mountains at this point in time. I mean, it was the end of the day for sure. Soon.
So the landowners themselves, I don't recall seeing them in the episode. Did they not want to be seen, I guess?
I don't think that they felt the need to include them per se on the episode.
Oh, look who decided to join us.
Hey guys, what's going on? How you doing? What time is it? Am I late?
I'm glad you're back.
Yeah.
So we're kind of getting a little bit of the look at this one, Tony. Look at that shot. There was a shot that I was trying to screen grab when Josh was on top of the mountain looking for the grave site, and it was just overlooked the river and these mountains, and it was amazing. But Discovery blocks it. You can't even take a screenshot. And if I did it with my phone, it would have looked terrible. So just use
that was up in Cody, Wyoming is where that shot was. And that was an absolutely incredible sight and cinematic shot of that area. I don't have a picture of that.
What was the lake that was shown in the video? That lake that was at Cody.
That was at Estes. Is that Estes Lake or
there's a
lake
at
Cody?
There's a lake up at Cody as well that the river's dammed up.
Is that what that was? I know I was watching the part about the grave site, and it looked like a big lake that was there.
Yeah.
I knew the river was there.
Yeah, on the gravesite part, that was a part that didn't involve the guys, but
No.
they thought that he may have been buried in this other spot. I don't want to ruin the whole show. Go watch it. But they brought in archaeologists with ground penetrating radar, and they had these cadaver dogs that can sniff the remains, even thousands of years old remains. So you go down that rabbit hole, and Josh was detecting, found something cool. What machine was Josh using, guys? Let the cat out of the bag. It looked like it may have been a mine lab. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he had an Equinox. I believe it was an 800.
Yeah, and a Garrett pinpointer, I think.
Yeah.
Did it look like, from your detecting experience, did it look like Josh knew his way around a metal detector, or was it more of a prop for the show? Be honest. Come on, be honest. They're not calling again tomorrow.
We're all honest about this. 100%. He jumped out of his truck, fired up the Knox, and he jumped into the field. He knew what he was doing for sure.
Okay,
Jason, he knew enough. He knew enough. He looked over at Tony. He goes, "Oh, how do you like that Manicore?"
Yeah.
Oh, so that's cool. So he knew a little bit about what was going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking, like, you get a big star like that, I'm almost half thinking he's going to say, "All right, what button turns this thing on again?"
And realistically, honestly, we said this on our show, both shows, that Josh he comes off as a regular guy. I mean, he came driving up in that red pickup that you seen. He came driving up in that, literally window down, waving out the window, going, "Hey guys, how's it going? Find anything good yet?" Because he's like probably a half hour behind us, or behind the camera crew, maybe 20 minutes. Just a regular guy, not a big star. At least it didn't feel like he was a big star when he was there.
We've got a lot to say about him. We got a lot to talk about.
I'm
Josh.
curious.
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious too. Like, to go. Let's jump back a little bit more. Like that morning in the hotel, you wake up before you leave. Does Josh join you guys for breakfast, or is he in like the VIP lounge? Like,
he knocked on my door. He's like, "Ken, are you awake yet?" Ken,
He made us breakfast. What are you talking about?
He was making breakfast. And look, I'm not trying to knock him. I mean, look, he's a big star. I'm sure he's busy. He's also a producer. I'm not trying to imply that he's too good for you guys. I'm just wondering, did you get to interact with him at all before the camera started rolling?
The morning. Go ahead, Jeff.
We didn't really interact with him a ton before the show actually began. He showed up on site. I don't think he was at our hotel. I think he was at a different one, if I remember right. But he showed up, and he came over and introduced himself before the show, before the camera started rolling, and I think it was the general introduction of him to everyone else. So I mean, it was just like, "Hey, this is Josh," and yeah.
Were you guys?
Ken and I were talking about this. Ken and I were talking about this earlier. This is, and we'll talk about each segment that each of us are in. But this was a segment that Ken was in, and Ken absolutely. He goes, "Did you see where Josh was talking about what Ken found?" And the grin on his face, the realism of his reaction, like what you saw that's that smile. That's him, dude. There's no Hollywood to it.
That was him still enjoying his job. You know what I mean? He even got a kick out of himself.
Yeah.
Now, I got to ask, before I even get into it, I got to ask, because I'm pretty sure people want to know, when you do a show like this where there's expectations of, look, none of us thought you were going to find these whiskey bottles or he was going to dig up the bones of Buffalo Bill. So with that aside, did they still come at you with certain pressure? I'm going to minimize this. Did they come at you with certain pressure where, look, guys, we got to find at least 3 things just so we can talk about it. I want each of you to find one. Was there any sort of movie magic, we'll call it, that because you got to, you can't just go out there, no one find anything, and that's it. Like, there's got to be a little bit of pressure where, geez, I got to find something. Even if it's just junk, I got to find something to get 30 seconds of the air.
Great question. I'm glad you asked. Who wants to take it?
I'll go around the room. Ken, I'll go to you.
Start us off, Ken.
Be honest with me, Ken. Be honest.
By the way, Ken,
Jason,
glad you joined us.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Be honest now, Ken. We're putting faith in honesty here.
I will. There was a guy that once told me that it's not, you're not always going to find something interesting, but what you find to make it
That's
interesting.
exactly right. That's exactly
there was
right.
some guy, I don't know who he is, but
he goes by
told me that a
initials
long time
QH,
ago.
I think.
But that's exactly, and that's what you guys did. That's what you did,
Yeah.
and that's the formula.
Yeah. So no, I know what you're saying, like Hollywood it up and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
A little bit.
I'll tell you what, we were introduced in that beginning shot. We got introduced, and as soon as they said cut and we started moving on, we grabbed our detectors. He grabs his, and he's like, "Good luck, guys." And we just started swinging. We just started swinging and finding things. There was never any like ho hum, like let's we just were free to find everything we found, and we started finding stuff right away. We found lots of stuff. They didn't show much in the show, but we found lots of stuff. And sometimes they would be right there watching us as we were digging beeps and uncovering targets. And other times they would be over at somebody, and then somebody would be like, "Oh, hey, got something." Just Jason, just like you do with your buddies when you're out in the field. It felt like another day detecting to me. That's exactly what it felt like.
Agreed.
Now there was certain things. I'll let these guys talk about. Of course, there was some things. Like I think they came up and he was interviewing me about something I found, and I said something. He goes, "Oh, that's good. Okay, wait, say that again." And then you'd be like, Ken, say that. Ken, say it the way you just said it.
Part. I'm going to get into that too, because that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Oh my God.
So just the finds alone, and again, I don't want to ruin the episode for anybody, but what they found was, they were decent, mildly. So even those things, there was no pressure. Like if I'm the producer of a big show on Discovery, where I know we got to pull something out of the ground, I'm thinking, well, Buffalo Bill, we got to find a part of a gun. We got to find a bullet, something along those lines. Let's gather around, guys, and we're going to say we found the bullet. Who's going to question that we found a bullet? None of that. Whatever was found was legitimately found, is what you're saying, right from the horse's mouth.
Absolutely.
Us three here, yes.
All right, well, that's good. It's 100%. Nice to know that. It's nice 100%. To know.
There's no pressure, and everything we found was real finds. There was no hanky panky, no let's put something in the ground and dig it up. There's none of that on this set.
While I was taking my union break, did you guys talk about like what the type of property it was without really identifying it? Kind of, was there any ground rules, all that stuff? Like,
I did. Ask
we get any shot at the land before the crew showed up and all that. Yeah,
I'm guessing you probably didn't get a whole lot of leeway of where you'll be hunting, what you were looking for specifically. Maybe on the way out there, they give you a little background. But to get into the finds that made the show first, and then I'll ask about if there was anything that you guys found that didn't make it, that maybe you thought could have. I'll start with you, Ken. I think you found the first thing, if you'd like to talk about it, because yours was like the comedy relief sort of the show. And Tony, look at that, Tony on the ball with a photo.
I've worked on live streams before, so I got you.
So Ken, what is this treasure that you uncovered that got Josh's attention?
Man, let me see if I can do it. Service for Expedition Unknown. For Jason, there I am. I got this tone. It was blowing my ears off. And I was digging down. I couldn't find it. And I was digging. I was like, Josh, I've been digging. I can't find it.
You hammed it up. That's what you got to do. You hammed it up. Right. I thought it was really good. I thought it was
an awesome segment.
It was a good segment. But no, I pulled it up. So I'm digging. I don't know what I got. It's a target. Josh hears a target. Here's what happened. He's hearing me hear a target. And he's like, "Oh, Ken's got something." So he's off, he's off in the distance. He immediately grabs his camera crew. And now they're coming at me. And I haven't even unburied this thing yet. And he's just like, "What do you got?" Now it's on film. And that's how the whole scene starts. He's like, "What do you got?" And then I was like, "I don't know. It sounds pretty good. Not too deep." And he comes up and he's kneeling down with me and I'm going through and I find this target. We're both looking. He's looking just as excitedly as I am in the hole. He almost shooed me away because he wanted to find it first. If you look closely, I think I've watched that clip a few times, but I pulled out and it's a pull tab, a beaver tail pull tab.
Yes.
And I handed it to him and I'm like, "Well, it's not whiskey." You know what I mean? And, handed to him and then he You guys already played the clip or no? Are you going to play?
No,
the clip or not play the clip.
I don't want to play the video. I've got snapshots.
You want me to take you through the response and all that?
Yeah, let me.
Yeah,
go for it. It was good comic relief. It was. I mean, I don't know if it was natural dialogue or if that was like a pre-written line because he really nailed it. But if you want to walk us through it, it was good.
Yeah. So again, like I said, we have a lot to talk about Josh tonight, and this would be a great intro to Josh. Josh is a complete professional when it comes to controlling this set, controlling everything has to do with everything you see. There's no offset director. All right, Josh, now do this he's doing everything, right? So he called the camera crew in. He told who to go a low shot. Just for an option, he had somebody with a high shot. He had somebody zoomed in. Like he was calling all that as he was walking up to the dig, and he pulled it. And like I'm just showing him what I found, and he just took it from there and did everything like off the cuff, spontaneous. Did this that ended up in the show. So he pulls it out of my hand. He's like, he goes, and I said, as I'm handing it to him, I said, well, it's not whiskey. And he said, no, but you can get drunk with it. You can get drunk off of it. In other words, it came from beer. And then he looked at it, he goes, yeah, the pull tab. He goes, you got to find some of these, don't you? Like on every hunt or every day or something like that. And
like a normal detectorist would say, and no, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we know we got to dig pull tabs, right?
Yeah, you watch your buddy dig a pull tab. You make a lighthearted joke about it. Everyone does that,
Yeah, and then he turns to the camera and almost like a public service announcement, he goes, "And to the current generation," he goes, "Please dispose of your beer cans properly. You're wasting our time."
Yeah, that was good, and he had a good shot of it, like up by his face.
Yeah.
Yes, and then he kind of looked away and grinned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and we went on and we kept talking about it and stuff. He's like, "Why? How many of these have you found, Ken?" Like, so this is all off camera, right? Now, things you didn't see in the edit. How many things these do you think you found over there? I go, I've got like a chainmail made out of them. We're having that kind of conversation, and he goes, "Oh, I know, So he is a detectorist, and he said, "I dig so many of them, and they sound so." He said, "They sound so good." That tells you that he's one of us.
Yeah, he's
very much one of us.
That's good. It's nice to know. It's good to get some background. That he is. I'm assuming after 15 years, there's probably been many episodes where detectors were introduced. So I'm sure he has some experience in that. Now, Ken, did you find other things on the day that you thought might have made the video? Were you surprised that this was your clip that made it? Or did you not have the most successful day personally?
You know what? Actually, for the whole hunt, when I think about it, matter of fact, I made that same comment. It's funny we're starting with this. Yeah. I really didn't find a ton of stuff, guys. I really didn't. I found a lot of unidentified bips and blobs. Matter of fact, I remember I pulled up this one object and I grabbed a camera crew guy. He was just sitting there. He wasn't doing anything. It was in between people finding stuff. And I said, "Hey, do you want a wah, wah, wah moment?" And I called him over and I said, "I don't know what the heck this is." I said, "But if you want to film me pulling it out of the hole, I'll look at it and I'll kind of give you this sad look." And he's like, "So yeah, sure." So he filmed it. They didn't use that, of course, but yeah, I didn't really find a lot. So I told these guys, I go, "They're going to use me as comic relief. You watch, and you guys are going to be the professionals." And I think I found something up in the woods similar to what these guys found now that I had a chance to think back on it. But no, what they showed from these guys was absolutely what they should have showed. I don't, unless you guys can help me remember. I don't recall myself pulling. I did have we've talked about it last night. I did have an experience that I wish I would have called the camera crew over because I think it would have made a big part of the show. Yeah. Did you guys already tell what we're looking for and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's out. Okay. So, because it's out, right? So, yeah. So we're looking for these. We're looking for these crates of whiskey. And so the archaeologist, the lady there that's in the show, the lady archaeologist, she's away from me down the hill a bit. And she comes up and she goes, "Ken," she goes, "I've got this huge signal down here." And she said, "I'm no good at digging." She's like this kind of,
use a paintbrush.
Yeah. and so she goes, will you come dig it up for me? And I said, sure. I'll come dig it up for you. So I walked down there and I run my detector over it and it's an overloading signal, huge overloading signal. And I'm looking because it sounds so shallow, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a huge signal. So I start edging it with my coil to find the parameters of it. And it's the shape of a crate. It's about 16 inches wide by probably 24 inches long.
Wow.
And that was the edge of it. And I was taking my shovel and I was tracing the outline of it to see how big it was. And at that point, I should have, Jason, and I didn't. I should have went, Josh, you want an exciting moment?
That's what you're there for.
Yeah.
Like,
you want an exciting moment
over for that?
I didn't. I was just like,
one in a million chance that was a crate, and you didn't call him over for that.
I was like, okay.
Tab was a way better signal. The pull tab was way better.
Can you imagine if Ken found the crate and didn't call them over? Oh my goodness!
Hey, I found it, and I broke a few of the bottles. I don't know what to do.
We're just over there, all just cheering each other, drinking, and. What do you guys got over there, huh?
Helpful. I wasn't even thinking about it. It must have been the heat. I was just being helpful to this lady, you know. So I start digging it up, man. I start just digging it up. You know what it was? It was a giant catering pan, a giant aluminum, like deep dish, you know what I mean? Big catering pan, like you would put barbecued meat in or something. Oh my gosh. That's what it was. It was just below the surface. Trash, junk.
Talking about catering plan, like I'm assuming you're probably filming all day out there. Did they have like a catering section of tables for lunch or anything like that? Or did you guys just order from a sub shop at 12? Like, how was the day of shooting? I'm sure you were out there long hours.
Yeah, we got out there right after breakfast. I mean, the three of us literally hopped into Tony's truck, and we were out there by what, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at the latest.
Yeah.
I mean, we were literally ate breakfast and, introduced ourselves to the crew, but then we're like, hey guys, we got to go. Cause we just wanted to get out there, get a lay of the land. Cause we haven't been out there. We had, none of us had seen this spot yet. So let's go get a lay of the land. We get out there. First thing we hop out, there's elk across the road bugling, a herd of, 70, 80 elk. They're bugling. It's a beautiful scene. It's amazing. So we get out there. It is, like I said, bright and early in the morning. We already have breakfast. When it comes time for lunch, though, they pass around, a menu and say, all right, we're ordering sandwiches from the shop. And it's one of the best sandwich shops in Estes Park. It wasn't Subway. It wasn't, a Quiznos or anything like that. They went to the, a really nice sandwich shop, custom make every order. And, we got to select what we wanted to drink, sides, you name it. And then we all sat around, the crew, everybody, the landowners, the crew, Josh, we all sat around BSing during lunch.
Yep.
Yeah, there was more than one occasion during the show where Josh and you guys are like down in some brewskis. Was there brewskis flowing at lunchtime, or did you hold off until after the episode?
Tony?
No, there was no brewskis. We waited till the end.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, I mean, we were there. Three of us were, and the whole camera crew, everything there was dead serious about hunting and trying to make an episode.
Yeah. It was an incredible experience. I remember sitting. So, I mean, if you, and we'll lay little breadcrumbs here. When you're watching it and you see, quote, the cottage behind Josh and the gentleman in blue, you actually can see the green cottage there. You can see it has a full wraparound porch. There's chairs out front. Lunchtime, no joke. We sat in those chairs next to Josh, next to the camera crew, next to the landowners, shooting the shit with everybody, eating lunch on the rocking chairs, just taking a break.
Yeah, just chilling.
I mean, it was out of everything, because you try to remember and grasp and hang on to as many memories of it as you can, right? That 20 minutes of us just sitting there was one of the most peaceful real moments that we honestly had. And there was nothing Hollywood, there was nothing fake. Cameras were off. They didn't record us because we're all eating lunches and stuff, and we were all hanging out. That's just what we were doing. And it was like you had asked, how much of this was real? How much was it Hollywood? Dude, that camera crew, the entire production crew is real. Josh is real. We just had an incredible life experience with everybody. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
But then
I'll jump back to breakfast real quick. We spent the night in the hotel the night before. Didn't meet anybody. We just checked in, hung out ourselves, went out, had some drinks, got some food. Next morning, woke up, went to the free breakfast down in the hotel, like you do. And we still hadn't met anybody. So we're having breakfast. We're almost done with breakfast. And we knew where we were going. So we were talking about heading out, and all these other people filled up the breakfast place. And pretty soon the main producer, Fitz, he's like, "You guys are the detectorists?" we're like, oh my God. And the whole crew was in there with us. Like I'm the cameraman. Hey, I'm the producer. Hey, I'm the.
That's what I said. You'd think they would have like Expedition Unknown shirts on or something.
Yeah.
I think one or two of them had a hat, and that was,
we just didn't notice.
Small emblem on the front of the hat. So it's not very standoutish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I was thinking just now, Jeff, if I bring up the photo again of your IMDb page,
we're never going to live that down ever.
Oh. I bring it up because a lot of the dialogue seemed like it was spontaneous between Ken and Josh and Tony and Josh. But before you started, when you guys were standing at the cabin getting ready to let's go do it, you had a couple of lines of dialogue there. Was that, were you free balling that dialogue? Was there any rehearsal? Were there lines you were given specifically? Because if they give you a line and you read that line, well, then you get a credit. If it's just free balling, well, then you're basically like an extra. So was there any writing of that interaction dialogue before you guys kicked off the hunt?
And before you get to that real quick, Jeff, it took forever for us to be able to get to the part where he was able to talk.
Really?
Yeah, because they were trying to do something ahead of it to lead to Jeff, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't working. It didn't work at all.
I'll have to hear about that.
The picture's on there. Yeah, Jason, the picture's on there.
In that dialogue that got Jeff on I'm guessing. So I figured I'd ask the horse right from his mouth.
Yeah.
It was free-flowing dialogue, but it was stopped by Josh saying, "Now, I'd like you to say this instead of that."
Gotcha.
Kind of a thing. And we went through that, I don't know, probably 5-6 times, maybe 10
Pictures
times.
down there, Jason.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a bit trying to get through what we were trying to do.
I think that was the hardest part of the whole day, was just that scene.
Yes.
Well, it seemed like that was a little bit, I don't want to say rehearsed, but it didn't seem like that was off the cuff dialogue. But I think, like I said, that's what got Jeff the IMDb, because he was being directed. Hey, I need you to say this. Maybe he wasn't clear enough. Maybe it was a little ambiguous, or Josh was guiding him through it. Where your dialogue was more like off the cuff, just conversational.
This is the part where Josh was being a director.
Sure, he's got to wear those hats.
Yes, he was wearing multiple hats that day. And this is part where he literally is like, "I'd like you to say this." I don't remember exactly how I was saying it. I was phrasing something, but he's like, "What if you use the word, nails instead of, or, something along those lines." And we went through that probably, like I said, my portion of it 3-4 times, because he was like, "You know what? Let's do it like this now." So he was truly directing. And it was based off of a free-flowing conversation.
Right.
He's like, "I'm going to talk to these two, and you three guys just be hanging out. Don't get stiff. Don't stand like statues. Just kind of be relaxed, hanging out, doing your thing." And of course, we're like bowling pins. We're like,
well, it's tough. And did he hit you, Jeff, with like the line, something like, "Oh, that was good, but give me more gusto." Because when you say the same thing the third, fourth time, you're not into it. It's like telling a joke over again. You know what I mean? That's where the acting part, and none of us are actors. That's got to be challenging. And you start sweating. Was that a stressful moment for you? I would think it would be for me.
It was for me. It's definitely because, like I said, we're going into it 3 or 4 times, and like you're saying, by the third or fourth time, you're not
into it.
You're not into it. It was a flowing conversation, and it can't be. It was being forced then a bit. So I think that was directed.
I think initially it was off the cuff, but it definitely was directed to evolve into something more of the end product. So I think it was Jeff kind of winging it, and then Josh is like, "No, say it this way."
Yeah, you fine tune it
in there. You fine tune it, and that's why it took a couple takes just to get it right. But I think the idea behind it really created what the next that whole section of what we were there to do, how we were going to do it, and why, all came from those 2 sentences or 3 sentences from Jeff. I thought that was phenomenal how it evolved into that.
Yeah, you probably
and seeing the edit. And seeing the edit, because
exactly.
I was really interested to see how they were going to do this part of the edit, because we struggled with this part. The little gal archaeologist there, I forget her name, wonderful lady, but he started with her. So the guy in the blue, it was sort of, you brought this team with you.
Tony, do you saw the picture? I'm sorry, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah. The lady in black, she was supposed to introduce us 3. Now she had just met us.
You shouldn't know your names.
She had to remind. They had to remind her of our names. So it was Jeff, Tony, and Ken. Jeff, Tony, and Ken. She practiced it. Jeff, Tony, and Ken. Jeff, Tony, and Ken. Right. And she practiced it. And she took that shot. I don't know how my guys 10 times trying to get it right. And then he kept trying to direct her, like, no, okay, just say it. Now be no more natural. Okay, now say it again. Oh no, she kept making mistakes, and she was really nervous. And I don't think we got through it. I think we got through it somehow, but I was like, how are they going to edit this? Like, this is going to be interesting to see how they did it. And when you watch the show now, being, I'm always watching the edit and seeing how they do things. You see a video cropped in tight of her hand going to Jeff, to Tony, and Ken, but there's no audio of her talking.
Right. Yeah.
Now there was when they filmed it, but now you have a voiceover of Josh that did a voiceover that said, these guys from Eureka Treasure Hunters Club. So he didn't say our names. He just showed her hand kind of on the corner of I watched the way they edited it between the video and the audio.
It's really smart. You got to do that. And I think because she was coached on her lines, I think that's why she also, I think, Ken, if you can verify this. Hold on, Tony. I'm going to take your picture down for a second.
Yep.
I'm going to go back real fast to the IMDb, because I think she also, was her name Heidi? Heidi Short?
Yeah.
Short.
Yes.
That was it.
I'm getting the impression that if your dialogue was coached or changed or anything like that, then you become, an actor, for choice of a better word.
I don't know about that.
IMDb credit. I'm guessing.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I should have 4 credits there then.
They were coaching you a lot.
They were like, say it, Ken, say it again. No, just like you just said it. No, come
but different.
You said it differently. Said it.
Yeah. I will say for Heidi though, I mean, get this. You just met Jeff, Tony, and Ken, and they're from the Eureka Treasure Hunters Club of Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
That's a lot to remember and take in, and then
and she's probably caught up in the moment a little bit too. She's on a television show. It's a lot of pressure.
Danimal says, in all fairness, they don't remember her name either.
Probably 100%. Not. I mean, when I said her name Heidi, you guys all had to think for a second. You only had to remember one name.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, it definitely was a stressful situation to drop that on her. They did want to introduce us, of course, but it definitely was very stressful on her to have that expectation to remember 3 people with this organization that they're with and all these different things. So I don't blame her for having difficulty with it.
No, not at all.
In all honesty, I mean, to me, it was interesting because Josh just met us as well.
Correct.
But he's professional, though. This is what he does.
It is Jeff, Tony, and Ken from Eureka Treasure Hunters Club. He had it down, literally.
That's what he does for a living, though. Like he meets people
he's done it so much. He's done it so much. It's like a muscle memory. That guy could wing it till
he's a professional. And his speaking voice. I mean, I wasn't as familiar with the show. I may have seen an episode or 2 over the years, but his speaking voice, it's crisp, it's clean, his narration's great, and it makes for really easy voiceovers because it just flows. So you can save a lot of clips. And like with Jeff's, like if Jeff did 5 takes getting his blurb down, maybe the first sentence is from the 3rd take, and then the second sentence is from the 5th. Yeah. They gives you a lot of options as you're cutting away to looking at the woman, Heidi, looking at you or whatever. The editing is really the magic that makes these shows good. And having 3 different cameras filming from different angles really can give you that dynamic to make it come alive.
Right. And that professional editing, like you're saying, obviously you, Quarter Hoarder, and Ken and Tony and Charlie Harlan, you guys all have YouTube channels Can you imagine having the ability to do the editing in the rooms, with everything that they have going on?
Yeah, I mean it's an overwhelming task, but they also they had 7 months to do it. Well, I have 3 days, so it's a little more raw.
Yeah.
So let me move on just to keep this moving, and then we'll backtrack. So Ken's find was the first find that made the show. He got the pull tab. It was a good comedic moment. I think the second find was from Tony. Tony, can you walk us through what your find? Because yours, your expression, it looked like you had something incredible, and you did. It was something really good. It would have made my video. Walk us through your moment, how you got the crew involved, and give me the whole scenario.
Yeah. So again, prefacing this for the three of us, 100%, these were all wild finds that we came across. Nothing by us was planted, fabricated. It was, once we found it, we definitely, we did some embellishing per se, I guess, but of course. So I was, if we look prior to the shot that we've got up right now, there was a drone, and I watched it, and I'm way off kind of in a corner, and everybody else is kind of moving towards the woods. And I came across this object that kind of blew my mind. I mean, going into it, you had asked, is there stress or pressure to find a certain object that's related to so-and-so? We all know, what the topic is, what era we're looking for, and we're familiar with historical things that we're going to be finding or may lead to the story. So, finding certain things like, I'm not even going to go down that road yet because we're going to get over there, but anything that dates to that period is going to be something that we want to be excited about. So, 100%, when I pull this up, I see stones. I see it's jewelry. I see stones, and I see gold. So, I don't even remember exactly what I had said, but again, it was like, hey, Tony, say it again this way. And, I had said
your dialogue was coached a little bit also.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And, yeah. And it was, hey guys, I got something here. And it's shiny. I think Josh had said,
what you said.
Say
your shiny rang through the episode.
Right. Right. So, that's what I said. They all come running over. And
we redid running over 3 or 4 times.
Oh, you did? You had to redo the running over shot.
Yes.
Because he was like, get the drone up. Okay. Now, Tony's going to say, hey guys, I got something. And then everyone drop what you're doing and run. You know what I mean?
But that's
the Hollywood. That's the Hollywood sort of, touch on things.
But I thought it was a really good find. I thought it was.
Oh my God.
I think,
crazy.
Yeah, really significant.
I'll show a picture of it here, but this is kind of us gathering around. We all gather around, and there's cameras over shoulders, under arms, all right in there to capture everything, 3 different times, so you can do those hard breaks and move around kind of the circle there that everyone's looking at.
And there's one, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you. Is there just one boom mic over the circle capturing all the audio, or were you guys mic'd up?
Oops, sorry. We're all individually mic'd up, and that picture of everybody in the group with the crew, there's one guy that has all of the feeds from our mics. And he's adjusting all of the levels and everything and listening to every single person that has a mic. So you're listening to like 6 different conversations. Yeah. I mean, the audio guy is awesome. Yeah. One of our favorite guys to talk to.
And he had the boom mic too.
That's probably a backup just in case, but you want those levels with the gain levels, right? I do it on a lower scale. That's a whole job on its own.
It is. Yeah. And that guy's amazing because you got to get it right.
Yeah. You only got one shot, really, to really get the excitement, because if you had to redo it 3-4 times, just like Jeff said, it's not as good. You're not as enthralled because we're not professional actors. Yeah, here's Tony's find. Look at this.
Yeah. So I pulled this out, and it come, right up here on the back side, it's got this long pin in the back, and it turns out it's like a brooch type of pin. And again, you know what you have, but you don't know what you have. So, start cleaning it off. You see that it's got 5 stones all in place. Then you start seeing some fancy on it. Then you start seeing some gold poking through. Josh grabs it on my hand, starts looking at it, and starts kind of directing and kind of leading, certain things about it. Ken says, hey, I got a loop. And he starts looking at it through the loop, and he says, it's definitely cut stone, and it's got gold on it. And Josh flips out. He's like, oh, my gosh, it's gold.
Yeah.
Then they hand it over to the archaeologist. Archaeologist goes, oh, definitely late 1800s, and then they go into a segment from there saying, this is who was here during that time, all related to Lord Dunraven. There could be a Scottish pin, those kind of different things. They start really talking about this particular piece, and I absolutely, I'm very, I love this piece. It absolutely was.
It's and it's Victorian. It fits into the time. The stones are all beautifully faceted. Did you, when you got home later, did you try to do like a Google reverse image to see if you could find more information on this piece specifically?
I think the guy, Jeff and Ken, who were the other two guys that weren't camera guys? Were they directors, producers? What was their role?
I think they're producers.
Yeah, one was a field producer. The other one was like a junior producer.
Okay. So I think that they were kind of doing that research in the background with Google pick and everything like that. So and I'm sure that you're going to ask this question, but you kind of led down that. When I got home, I didn't have this piece with me. Sure. All of our finds, they actually stayed with the landowner as they should. So
I'm sure you probably got a snapshot with your cell phone, right?
I have 3 folders full of pictures with so I've got it from every degree for 360 degrees all the way around. No,
we thought this was one of the finds of the day right here.
I thought it was, now Jeff's find that we'll get into may have aligned more with the premise of the show, but I thought Tony's was the biggest treasure, we'll say.
Agreed 100%. Yeah,
it was a beautiful piece. Still had the pin back, with the gold and the stones. I mean, it was really exciting. And for the most part, I mean, if you go through that segment, I'm kind of pumping my fists. We're actually, it did make, and here's something that you're not going to get, but it didn't make the cut. It didn't make the episode. We're high-fiving each other like around the circle there. Like, this was actually a pretty exciting moment that I think they captured legitimate emotion from us. I mean, at least Ken and I, because we, you come across, and Jason and Charlie, you would do the same thing. If you found a piece like this, you would be excited, right? I mean, that would be true excitement for whomever found it. And we did go through that. Unfortunately, just didn't make the episode. But we absolutely had that emotion going through. When Josh is talking about it, Ken's looking at it real close, and he's giving us the details about it, and it was like
that part was just organic too.
Cut stone, okay. There's gold. Like it was just kind of a build up, and I thought it was a fantastic segment. I thought they captured it great. And then kind of went into.
And what I liked about it too is, as a viewer watching it, like my mindset, all right, they're looking for whiskey bottles. Now, this is a great find, but obviously not what they're looking for. But I like how they tied it in, and they were like, oh, it could have been a pin. And they show a picture of Buffalo Bill with this elaborate jacket on with like all sorts of, decorative things on it. So they kind of bring it back where this could tie into the segment, because my mind didn't even go there. I was thinking, oh, this is like a woman's brooch. It's really fancy. It's Victorian, but I didn't make the connection. But when they made the connection, I'm thinking, all right, I could see that. I could see it being on, one of their outfits.
It's adding to
flowery. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it's adding to the mystery of what if. I mean, that's why we love doing what we're doing, right? You never know what the story is to these finds that we're coming up with, and they really drew that out into, oh, wow, that really could be connected in some way. I thought they did a fantastic job.
I thought they did do it. It brings you back into what you were there to try to find.
And I was so excited for Tony's find. I pulled out my loop like I would any other time, just digging on our own, because I wanted to see. I didn't pull out my loop to try to make the show or to try to, do anything on camera. found this cool find. I pull out my loop immediately, most times, right, Tony? And I look at it and I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, it's got cut stones. And Josh picks up on that and goes, okay, wait. He goes, stop. He goes, all right, do that again. He goes, that's good. That's good. That's good. What you just said. Say that again. And he's got, hey, you do an upshot. You come on, blah, blah, blah. He's like, all right, do that again. And I think I did it 3 times. Where I pulled that up to my eye, looked at it, I go, oh, it's got cut stones. He goes, no, say it the way you just said it a minute ago. And I was like, okay, all right. So, same thing. I just pulled that out. Oh, and it's got gold on it because I wanted to see it's my buddy's find, you know what I mean? And I have the loop. So I'm like, all right, let's see what it is. But it kind of shocked me that Josh stopped everything and said, okay, wait, no, that's good. That's good. Are you low? Can you get him in the shot? You know what I mean? Like,
if he can get the most natural, excited reaction out of you, I'm sure that's what he's looking for. That's what we're all looking for, is that raw emotional excitement that's hard to fake, the second, third, fourth time. So, and maybe the cameraman got the initial take audibly, and then they match it up to a better visual take. And that's where, like I say, movie magic. I don't mean to say that anything's fake. I mean, like, you're just trying to take what you have and make it the most exciting way you can relay it to others.
I remember they're trying to use a camera guy to shoot through the loop and get an image of that through the loop.
I thought,
my loop was dirty, and it was like I was holding it and I was trying not to shake. And they're like, okay, 3 people were holding my hand to try to keep it level so that they could shoot down through the loop. Like, that was a real effort. But
no, go ahead and pull up this one here.
It's bring it up now. I'll do a full
video clip. This is a video clip that I took while we were recording. I kind of backed up a little bit, but you can see the boom mic up underneath there of Ken going. You're not going to hear audio, but he's talking about it. And
you're talking down the corner in the bottom left corner.
Yeah, there was the boom mic. I'll show you here when we start. There's right over here. There's a boom mic up underneath.
Yeah, it's sneaking into the frame. Yeah.
Was this the actual footage that made the show?
This is Tony's camera.
This is awful.
You pulled your cell phone out, Tony, and you were recording.
Yeah, because I knew I wasn't in the shot. They were really focusing on Ken looking through the loop. So I pulled out my phone real quick, just kind of leaned back and started recording it just to have kind of something to, that I.
And you went back into position, right?
I did. Yeah. Josh just said gold, and you're talking a little bit more about it. And then right at the end, before it stops, Josh looks over to the camera and says something like a directing type of command here. And I don't remember what he had said. He's telling him to do it.
I know what he said. Do you see the car that went by in the background? He's asking if you get the car.
He was always worried about
interfere with the audio.
Yeah. He's always worried about those cars. That's right.
Well, like the cars were really good at getting the timing down. We're trying to get a shot and a car goes by. I mean, it was consistent throughout the day. It really was.
Was there any sort of like ground rules of, look, guys, I don't want you to pull your cell phones out, or like, I don't want you to take any photo, like, because he's got to be a little nervous that you might try to leak something or show him in an unflattering way. Was there anything you had to sign where even after the show came out, look, I don't want you to, do this or do that?
Our NDAs, I didn't read it thoroughly. I thought it was.
I didn't either.
So maybe there was.
Yeah. Could be. Don't know.
No idea.
Okay.
I think I just got myself in trouble with that video clip. Oh,
well, I'm just wondering because, like,
we were free to do what we wanted to do.
Maybe because like when you go see Santa Claus at the mall, I can't pull my phone out and take a picture. There's just these weird rules, and I'm just curious.
No,
if there was, I can't imagine they're going to sue you. I'm just wondering.
No, they said take photos and some video, but just don't share them until after the
episode. Yeah.
Did they have you like, all right, guys, make sure everyone turns their ringers off, like even that?
Shit, I don't remember that either.
No,
okay.
I think we did
anyway, just for the fact that we didn't want to get interrupted during the day.
Imagine if you ruined the shot because your phone goes off.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been a great
great shot. And there he is with his phone ringing in his pocket.
Yeah. I've heard Ken's ringtones. It's like gangster rap. You can't have that.
It was. It's dubstep. So he would have he would have looked at the camera and been like, amateurs.
Right.
That's what
Yeah,
Josh
it would have been a great outtake from Josh. I mean, going back to like his personality, he would have hammed it up in some way to make it funny.
He wouldn't have been bothered. This is who Josh is. He wouldn't have been bothered by that at all.
No.
He would have stopped and
done another
just shook his head and went, amateurs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look,
You know what I mean?
Or bet YouTubers,
YouTubers.
I do want to say,
listen, he probably has done this so many times. It's not a big deal.
Right.
I'm sure you rub it off, you
I
do
would
it
just do it again. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure.
I
You
know
would
we're
be more
gonna-
embarrassed than he would have been mad.
Yeah.
We do want to probably move on to Jeff's find here, but I want to say really quick, and I don't want to give away too much, but this one line just absolutely was off the cuff. It was one take, and it made the episode. And Josh goes, "Well, that's pretty awesome. Now let's start looking for some whiskey, guys." And he looks over to me, and I said, "Well, I'm sorry, I'll stop finding all the diamond relics," whatever I said. That was one take, off the cuff.
Yeah,
it wasn't rehearsed. It was like, you got some humor in there. You could see the lightheartedness. That was how the day was. If you look at that 2 seconds of the entire 47-minute episode, that's exactly how it was. It was.
You didn't feel nervous around the guy at all.
No,
you just feel like you could say whatever you wanted to say.
And he felt that he could give us a little bit of harassment too.
Yep.
And I gave it back to him. We all felt comfortable enough to be able to just be ourselves and have fun.
And I got a story about that at the end show. When we start talking about the end, he really did that too. He opened up. We all had this real candid conversation about some stuff. But you talked about pulling the phone out real quick before we get to Jeff's find. It's another really impressive thing. I was really impressed with not only Josh, but the crew. When we would find something and he would look at it and he would talk to all of us. Do you know what this is? Is this what I think it is? What do these markings mean? Everyone pulls out their phones. Josh, the producers, and we're all comparing notes. And Josh is showing me his phone, and I'm showing him mine. And he's like, "Okay, so from 1870s to 1880, okay, great." And then he put the phones away, and he'd be like, "So this is from the 1870s to 1880s," because he wanted to get it right.
Sure. Hey, I do the same thing, and I even noticed, like, I'm sure no one knew what it was exactly. Like you said, everyone pulls out their phone. But he still hands it off to the archaeologist so that she can be the one who says, "Oh, this is definitely," because you want to make her look like, the official authority, and then you guys back her up with, "Oh, for sure."
It gives legitimacy to him, the episode, the finds, and everything by having, the archaeologist, ID it, and date it, and those kind of different things, and he's not the one that knows everything. Like, he's not portrayed that way. He doesn't want to be that way.
Yeah.
But he wants to be accurate.
Sure.
Which
That's
phenomenal.
I thought it was done well. I would have done it the same way. You defer to her because that's why she's there. Even if she has no clue, let her say it once you all research it.
Right.
Because that makes for a better thing. That's the impression that we're all getting of why she's there in a professional capacity.
Well, and let's not forget that Josh actually does have a degree in archaeology as well. So.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that.
Well educated in stuff as well, but like you're saying, none of us here know it all by any means. We're all learning as we go. Yeah. And the archaeologist gives by far, that good legitimacy to the rest of the world. That yes, the archaeologist says this is what it is. So
yeah, agreed. And I noticed from like on a side note, back when KG and Ringy had the Digger show, that when there are shows where guys are digging, you almost always have to have an archaeologist there just so the scientific community doesn't come down on you and oh, you bunch of looters. So even if she's just there in person, it takes away that aspect of it because
absolutely.
So you need those and every time a shovel was introduced, there was an archaeologist throughout the episode
right there.
And you have to do that. That's part of the formula. Oh, it's a good shot there, Tony. So now let's move into Jeff's find, because Jeff's was the one that really was the closest tie to what they were going for. Whoa, super zoom in. So Jeff, give us the lowdown on your find here, Jeff. Actually, multiple finds, but.
Well, this was a dropped cartridge casing, actually the full cartridge. So it's a period type item Obviously, those could still be produced today, but this was an older piece. The actual powder had eaten through the sidewall of that cartridge casing, so it had been in there for a long time. But yeah, this is right in the time frame of what we're looking for, the 1870s, 1880s, and it was a cartridge casing and our cartridge, and literally, I mean, our finds, because of where we're at, we're literally covered sometimes in nothing more than pine needles.
Yeah, they looked really shallow.
I mean, yeah, and that's the way it was. I mean, some of the stuff was.
They're also on a mountain too, so there's probably rock 2 inches down holding things up.
I mean, I've been out in a pasture before in eastern Colorado and found a 2-cent piece laying on the surface of the ground. So we don't get a ton of like soil buildup here out in Colorado. So this item was really close to the surface. When
you found this, like, you had a lot of dialogue where I think you actually said the caliber and all that. Did you know that just from looking at it and experience, or did you have to Google it, cut, come back, and then you got to be the expert and talk about your find in more detail?
So it's a little bit of both on that one. I definitely knew, there was the right time frame, nice era and all that, because I have been a hunter all my life as well. And I've been in the hobby since 1980. So I've dug a bullet or two in my time.
Sure.
But these are definitely more modern, than Civil War. You can tell that by your striations there in the grease grooves. Yeah, those right there. So you can see that tells you.
Oh, great shot!
More modern than Civil War. They didn't have those in Civil War. So this is post Civil War. And then you flip it over on the backside, and there's no head stamp on there. And there's the older style primer in there as well. So definitely all brings it all together in those 1870s, 1880s. But we all had to look it up anyway because
you want to be right.
I'm not an expert, but I know a few things.
Yeah.
So, do you see the shirt he's wearing, Jason? He is a master of metal.
Did you win? Did you win one of the things?
I was a judge.
Oh, you were a judge. Okay.
He's such a master of metal. They made him a judge. Sorry, Jeff, had to bust you.
No.
Yours was a drop. I didn't even know you found two. The previous picture, there was two. You found two of these drops, maybe in the same hole?
Tony found the other one.
Oh, okay.
So,
that didn't make the episode.
Sorry, Tony.
But they gave us all one find. We will say that.
Everyone gets one find.
Yeah,
we all got camera time. That's cool.
Yeah, we all got camera time, and realistically, our part of this episode came up literally at the quarter of the hour left, and they did the commercial break going to our, showing us coming on. It's like, oh, here we go.
I was getting a little worried. I got to admit, I watched 40 minutes, and I'm like, did they cut those guys out? Like, I thought your second was really good.
I mean, did you guys talk about our worry about that, guys?
Yeah, I mean,
I was off.
We haven't been on that yet.
We had a watch party where I work, and we had 20 people there last night, 22 people, something like that, 25. Yeah. And we're all like, okay, well, what do we do if they don't even show us?
Yeah.
I
was looking, I don't remember, but in the beginning of the episode where they kind of run through a quick sneak peek of what's to come, did any of you make a still in that little segment? I don't recall.
Ken, talk about the week.
Yeah, so the week. This is the week of the show. So Tony and I, sleuths, we're probably about ready to get fired because we are on social media refreshing every 3 or 30 seconds, trying to see if they're posting any promotion of our upcoming episode, they did with the other 2 previous episodes of this new season. And we're not seeing anything. We are not seeing anything coming out. And we're just... we have to bring this up right now before I go further in this story real quick. Real quick. We were there. We were found. Jeff brought us in. We were out there. We were there to find a case of whiskey,
right?
Hidden cache of whiskey,
which is incredibly difficult. Like we talked about when you had some issues, Ken. Yeah. You're basically listening for maybe just a couple of iron nails, which is such a difficult task. So,
or a hinge or whatever, just iron. But here's the deal. That's why we were there. That's why they called us. That's why they had us there. That's what they told us. When we started seeing promotion of our show and they said it was the lost grave of Buffalo Bill, we looked at each other like, what?
They changed the whole show.
What? They didn't mention that at all. They didn't mention it
we
at
got
all.
cut. We figured they cut it and just went off on a different tangent.
Like that was boring.
Well, when you
or
were
whatever.
looking for the whiskey, they told you that it was buried by Buffalo Bill and
Sure.
So you knew Buffalo Bill was related, but
Yes.
they didn't, during your filming, they didn't mention that they were also filming about the gravesite?
We thought we would be the whole show.
Oh, you thought the whole show was for this whiskey?
Whiskey.
Yes.
And
Okay,
Dunraven.
okay.
And Buffalo.
Because they didn't tell us anything different.
Sure.
They literally didn't. They said, we're looking for whiskey. Okay.
So the week before the show, we know now they've been promoting it as the lost grave of Buffalo Bill. So we're just looking for any kind of sign. Because they show a detector or anything to see if they really cut us.
And I did actually see one commercial, and there's like 5 different commercials that I seen for this episode. But one commercial actually talked about the lost whiskey from Buffalo Bill.
Oh, okay. So then that had to relieve you a little bit.
I texted Ken going, I seen a commercial.
Yeah.
I've seen one. So
that's the first sign. That was the first sign we heard of, is Jeff saying, I saw a commercial. And then go ahead, Tony.
No, he saw it while watching Discovery.
Yes.
And then we figured that would be out on social media as a promotion. Right. We couldn't find it anywhere.
Nope.
We couldn't confirm it. Jeff barely saw one part of metal detecting or whiskey, and then we couldn't find anywhere else. So now we're like freaking
you guys
out.
had this. You had a producer's cell phone number at this point. Did anyone be like Ken? Did you like, hey John? Did we happen to make did you do any inquiring, or were you just crossing your fingers and hoping?
Tony poked me to do that, and I didn't.
I can see you doing it.
I did contact them because the description was the searching for the lost grave of Buffalo Bill, and they dig into it more. And I was like, you hopefully aren't doing us looking for Buffalo Bill's grave, because
oh yeah, that would have been embarrassing.
Showing us like grave robbers.
Right.
I didn't want that. I said I don't want that bad rap out there with the rest of the community going, you're grave digging.
Yeah.
And he reassured me that everything was good.
It was hopping up.
So I'm like, okay, I trust you, but I'm worried.
Yeah.
So.
And then we saw an article released by the guys over at the Buffalo Bill Center in Cody, Wyoming. They released this article and talked about it, and they mentioned in that write-up of their side of the story, and that they filmed there. They showed all the people that they filmed there, all that stuff. And they said he goes to Estes Park. The film crew was off to Estes Park after this. And so I was like, okay, well, in that article, they're talking about him coming to Estes Park, which was our episode, our segment,
our portion.
And then little by little, things would start filtering down to where another article came out, and they talked more about this whiskey, going to find the whiskey. And we're like, oh, it's getting better.
All right. So then that's got to be a little relief. And if anybody wants to see the article, there's a website, CodyEnterprise.com, which is the website for the Buffalo Bill Museum. There's extra pictures on there. I don't even know if you guys know, some behind the scenes pictures. Again, it wasn't your segment specifically, but if people want to read more about it,
absolutely, it's a good read.
At the McCracken Research Library, I got a bunch of notes. It just adds to the whole story.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I want to talk about Ken being the super sleuth. So he starts talking about it, and what we start then is looking at Expedition Unknown, Josh Gates, and Discovery. When do they release the promotions for the upcoming episode? So normally they come out Monday morning for a Wednesday evening episode. We go all through Monday. Nothing gets released at all for the episode. I mean, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on their website, I'm on anything you can think of. Ken and I both are texting each other. It's not on Instagram yet. Okay, check Josh's. No, it's not on that. We go the whole day Monday without anything being released. And I'm like, oh no, this is not good. Is this
and
like
meanwhile, Jeff's cool as a cucumber, could care less, taking it leave it.
I know what's going on.
So we actually, Ken and I remember in this conversation we have with text, he's like, is this just like a throwaway episode that they're just going to just air it and then move on to the next one because it didn't turn out that great? They want to promote it because they're kind of embarrassed about it. You start thinking about, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Gosh, do people like me? That kind of thing. And then we were like, oh, they're just going to just They're not going to promote it. They're just going to show it and move on real quick over to Josh in, in Egypt or something. So come Tuesday then. Go ahead, Ken. Sorry, I stole your thunder there.
No, I'm following you. That's good. So Tuesday, what happened? Did my spot come out on Tuesday? Was that Tuesday?
No, it was.
Go ahead.
The first two spots that came out were Buffalo Bill and the Grave. So then now we're into Tuesday, the day before, and it's all about Buffalo Bill. Is he buried at Lookout Mountain, outside of Denver, blah, 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 show him, Josh with this big pickaxe, like digging holes. And we're like, dude, they cut us out. Not only are they not going to promote the episode, they completely cut us out, and, you start thinking about those things. And then finally, I think it was it Tuesday night or Wednesday morning that we saw Ken's promo. Was it? I can't remember which day it was.
I think
but
it was
after
Tuesday night, wasn't it?
After that came out, it was like, okay, we're good. We're good. And I got to tell you, man, Ken's not ever going to say it. His promo on that, I tell you, is it's just the coolest, funniest, real part it was phenomenal. I absolutely smiled. I don't know how many times I watched Ken on there and Josh, with this PSA, throw away your pull tabs. Yeah. So then fast forward now to the watch party at Jeff's.
Oh, jeez. Talk about a fiasco from my end.
I heard.
Yeah.
So I had a hard time too. It's I'm assuming you don't have cable, so I was trying to watch it through an app and it wasn't available until today at like noon.
Yes.
Whatever you were watching, it wasn't available. So I think that's the world we live in now, where if you don't have cable, the streaming apps, sometimes they're delayed, and you got 20 people there. That's stressful on its own.
Yeah. So I have, Amazon Prime. So I have a Fire Stick, and I subscribe to YouTube TV. I can watch sports live. I can watch, some TV shows live, like the news, all that. Discovery, I've seen, shows on Discovery that are at their normal times. And, obviously everything is like, all right, this is going to be airing at 9:00 Eastern, right here on Wednesday night on Discovery. It's all good. 7:00, obviously. Here it is, Mountain Time, 2 hours later. I'm on my way to doing some stuff, and my girlfriend calls me. It's 5:00. I'm getting I haven't quite set up anything yet, work yet. And I'm going to, it's 4:30. I'm planning to be back at the office 5. Girlfriend calls me and says, hey, I have friends that have YouTube TV, and they say that episode's not going to air till 10. I'm like, huh? Maybe they're wrong. Go do my stuff, come back.
You got to be wrong.
Yeah. I come back, I hop on the TV, get everything kind of set up. I have friends helping me out, set stuff up. Stephanie is there helping me set stuff up. Everything is good. I'm like, I get on there, and sure enough, it doesn't air till 10:00.
Yeah. Everyone's got to work the next day.
Yeah. Everyone's coming we told them be there at 6.
6.
We have a bunch of really nice pizzas ordered up. I made salsas at night. Stephanie made this great dip. We're going the whole 9 yards. We got beers.
Really nice.
I have 2 bottles of whiskey because it's about whiskey. So I'm making, we're making drinks and all this is going on. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? I subscribe to Discovery Plus right there. I'm like, I got to just, if I subscribe, maybe it'll come on live then. I don't know. This might work. Might not work. I'm subscribing. Tony comes up.
I get there. I walk in, and I was relatively early above a lot of the other people. And Jeff is in the chair in front of this huge, massive TV with the remote, sitting there by himself. And I walk up, and he's got sweat dripping down the side of his face. He's like,
sure.
It says it's not coming on until 10 tonight. I'm like, okay,
hey,
let's figure this out.
I didn't get it till noon today, Jeff. So at least you were more fortunate than I was.
Well, so then Tony steps up. He's like, can we cast it from my phone? I'm like, I don't know. Let's try it.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it to cast. I couldn't get it to set up. None of that stuff. So we ended up just downloading my home TV app, and I log into my home TV, and we just watch it live that way. So
thank you, detectorists.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
No, that's good. I'm glad it went off,
It was a little stressful.
Listen, you sweated it out a little bit, but
we did it with like, what would we have 10 minutes before the show?
It was close.
It was very close. So yes, thank you, Tony.
Yeah, save the day. Well, listen, you got all those people there. You got to get it done.
But we would have had to reenact it.
Take 5.
I want to get into Jeff's last find real fast, and then we'll move along because Jeff's last find, was like the culmination or the closest thing to what you were there for. Tony, it looks like he's bringing up a picture if you have one. Again, I couldn't grab any screen grabs. Discovery locks it down. You can't screen grab from their show.
I don't think Jeff had another find.
No. It was
I'm pretty sure it was Jeff. Who got the glass bottle lid at the end?
It was the guy that had lived there before.
I'm sorry. Well, then him, the glass bottle guy,
sure.
Found the top of an old glass whiskey flask. Well, I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was some sort of an old bottle. Looked like it may have had a seamed limb, and they kind of ran with that for a while too. And then I think there was a full bottle underneath of that, like from an old bottle dump.
So I've got this video because I was not part of that shot. So I'm off the distance, just kind of recording, just watching the production of it. So they're back behind this rock and they're finding glass. Then they find a full bottle back there as well. Oh, that's the snuff.
The snuff.
He got a target underneath there, and that's how they found
yeah, that's right. There was a snuff thing too. So yeah, there was some bottles and things like that found, which kind of tied it all in. Unfortunately, they did not find the whiskey crate yet, but who knows? Maybe there'll be a part 2 and they go back and get that Eureka moment. Shout out to the.
I like what you did there.
Nice.
Yeah, there was a question from Mark Tominski in the live chat that he had asked. Let's see if I can find it here. It's right.
Shout out to Mark.
Didn't he ask for my address where he was going to send me an Nvidio? I think that's
no. He was talking to me about that.
I talked to Mark earlier today, and he said when I told him about Josh having the ground penetrating radar, he said, "Oh, he should have gotten Nvidio."
Yeah.
I said, well, I didn't hear about the episode, Mark, till six months later.
So Mark said, "Are you guys allowed to continue to search for the whiskey crates now that the show is over?"
Yeah, I mean, are you allowed? I got the impression that the guy who grew up around there had been searching for this crate his whole life. I don't know, with a detector or what. I'm guessing there's local legends. Maybe other people have tried in the past. Is it something that you would even go back if you wanted to on your own and look for this? Or that's like I said, being a detectorist, you're listening for a couple of nails over who knows how much of an acre. Difficult task.
Who wants to take this one?
Tony.
Go ahead, Tony.
All right. So I'm going to pull up a picture here we can reference, but I think starting and prefacing the entire answer here, these landowners, and we've got Paul over here, we've got Jan over here, we're absolutely what dreams are made of in terms of what you want in a landowner for detectorists. I remember during the episode I was over, and I think as when Josh and Jeff were pulling the bullet, I was kind of over on the hill over there, and Paul came over and just tapped me on the shoulder and said, Tony, I really want you to know how excited we are to have you guys here, how professional you 3 detectorists are. We would love to have you guys come back up here after the show. We'll do a barbecue. We can have beer. Bring your wives.
Awesome.
Come back up here. We just are so excited to have and share this experience. And you guys are such incredible people and ambassadors that we would love to have you come back up here.
Oh, that's great.
To answer that question, obviously it's private property. You need the private permission. They are absolutely incredible people. And, long answer to a short question. Yes, our intent is to go back up. And in fact, after the episode came out, I was heading into work early this morning, and Paul texted me right away and says, "Hey, you look good on TV, Tony," and started, just bringing up the topic again right away. I think we were all kind of waiting for the episode to come out. And Jan's been on social media talking with us, and I really believe that we're probably going to put something together here pretty soon. Head back up and spend, a day, a weekend, something up in Estes with them, and see what else we can find. I mean, it is on the historical registry, but our idea of this whole thing is whatever's found there is historical. It can relate back to this story, and the finds stay with the landowners. That the story of their house. I know Ken can tell a great story of the house. Jeff can too. I mean, the house is phenomenal. Guys, go ahead and talk about the cottage.
Yeah, Ken. I mean, during our lunch break, after we had lunch, we're kind of like just taking a break because it was a long day already. Even at lunch, the landowners say, "Hey, you guys want to see the house?" And go ahead, Ken. I mean,
yeah,
this was
yeah. So like Tony said, dream landowners, right? What do you hope to find in a landowner? Yeah. Ones that get it, ones that love the history of their own property. And then these people were spot on with that. They were so excited to show us, because it's not a museum, it's a private residence, but they've completely refurbished this hunting lodge and have used every stick and piece of the original materials as they possibly could in whatever way they can. So
it looked really nice. There was a question real fast, Cape Cod Father. We did cover this earlier, Eric. The guys confirmed this was legit. It was all up and up. Maybe, say a line a second time, to get it right. But no shenanigans right from the horse's mouth. So
not with us.
None of us.
Yeah, there was a part in the show, watched it back. It looked a little suspicious to me, but as far as our segment, metal detecting segment, the last 15 minutes of the show, everything we filmed the entire day, there was no shenanigans whatsoever that we were aware of at all.
Let me ask out there detecting. Let me ask a question real quick. I'll bring this aside back for a second, Tony. Again, be honest, guys. The day before you go out, how long did you go through your wardrobe and be like, honey, does this look good on me? Honey, how about this? Does this make me look fat? Come on, be honest. Because I know I would do it.
I didn't.
Okay, you guys want to take that? I think we all have 3 different answers for that one. I don't know.
Jeff is the cool cucumber guy. I would know Tony was stressed out. I know it.
Pull up the picture here,
all right,
Jason.
Let me see. Okay.
There's what we wore.
Okay.
All day.
Yeah.
Now this was in October, though, so you're dressed appropriately for the weather.
Does that look like we went to Nordstrom and picked up the finest cloth off of the rack there?
Yeah, but how often do you detect, Tony, in a button-up long sleeve shirt? I mean, I don't know. Is that normal detecting gear for you, or were you like, oh, this shirt makes me look slim? Because I would do that. Let's be honest. You want to look your best.
This was Estes Park, Colorado, up in the mountains in October.
Yeah.
I don't see any coats on though, Jeff.
No, it was beautiful that day.
I think when we got out there that morning, it was in
cool this morning.
Yeah. It was probably 40 degrees maybe.
Yeah.
It was
layers
in the morning.
All right, so what you're saying is none of you guys gave a second thought to your wardrobe for the day. You just, this old thing? Okay, I'll wear this.
I second guessed it after the fact.
Yeah.
So if you notice that shirt, you notice anything familiar with me tonight?
Oh, wait, you're wearing that right now.
That's a lucky shirt.
So when I go hunting, I usually wear some kind of polo shirt, some kind of collar. It's just I have a ton of them. So I usually wear something like that with that vest. That is my detecting vest. I got it loaded full of stuff.
Sure.
So I usually wear that. Sometimes I'm in a t-shirt, but most of the time it's a shirt like that. Or I have a long sleeve thing on over me like what Jeff has. So when I think didn't Josh say, just kind of come wear something comfortable, whatever you would wear out detecting and stuff. So I did, but I felt like I was out of place in that shirt after a while. I'm like, that doesn't really look like a rugged outdoorsman type, treasure hunter type shirt, but it's what I wear. It's what I wear,
Yeah. And me, same thing with me. You'll see me almost 100% of the time out in a long sleeve fishing shirt. That's one right there, because I don't want to put sunblock on because then you get all dirty and it's just matted up. That protects you from the sun. It allows air to come through. But that morning, it's cold. It was literally pretty darn chilly out there, so I had a t-shirt underneath.
And I will say for myself, this is I usually wear a 5280 shirt or sweatshirt.
Okay.
And we know that going into this, they don't want, corporate insignias and those kind of different things. So obviously I didn't wear this. I wore a plain shirt that didn't have an identifying, I would love to have put my channel out there.
Yeah,
that would have been
I'm sure
awesome.
they probably,
but obviously not. We tried to go plain. So did we think about it? Yeah, because I normally wear something that advertises my channel, but I had to go with something more plain Jane. But I couldn't lose the cowboy hat. I was like, I'm coming with the cowboy hat.
Good luck,
Absolutely.
So
and I want to point out that Ken is standing in the world's largest hole right here. He's not actually that short.
Those hats. Look how tall they are with those hats on.
Ken, you know what's funny? Ken, here, I'll show you this. In the thumbnail that I put together, Ken, let me bring this up so you can see it. Oh, I gotta remove yours real quick, Tony.
Yep.
In the thumbnail I put together, Ken, I made you taller because I knew you weren't that short. So I actually cut you out, photoshopped you a little so you're on par with Tony. Because I said, there's no way Ken's that much shorter than Tony.
Dude, now I feel worse, Jason. Thank you so much.
But I knew that picture.
You shouldn't have told him that.
Now I feel worse. Oh my God.
You should not have said anything.
Now, Tony, hold on, wait. Get your where's your picture, Tony? Keep it up. I'm gonna do the comparison. Now,
okay, hold on here.
Ken's head is above the flap up on Tony's hat.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, now here's the actual photo. So I made you about 2.5 inches taller, Ken.
4.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Who's a pal, Ken? Who's a pal?
You're my pal.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
I was curious to see if Ken even noticed, but
oh my gosh. I don't feel like I'm a short guy. Like I don't see myself
you're
as a
not.
short guy. No, but there is a picture floating around there of Pound the Ground when I'm standing next to Jeff Plugmaster Ford and Corduroy and Jason.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are monsters. You know
those
what I mean?
Two guys, they're like
those pictures. I was like,
6'6", and I'm like 6'4". So yeah, we're like the Jolly Green Giants of the
But you adjusted it, Jason. What a beautiful friend you are.
Hey, listen, it's a little. I want you to adjust me, Ken. If I looked a little plump in my shirt, we're
gonna bring Jason down to our height. He's going, wait a minute. I thought I was a foot taller than you guys.
There's been many thumbnails where like I'll slim Doug down a little bit. I'll take a little off my hips.
Oh wow!
Listen, come on, man. You got to try to look.
That is
so.
Funny,
So out of the three of you, who would you say messed up their lines the most, and they had to like do another take? It sounds like it may have been Jeff. Yeah. So you had the most flubs, or at least the most difficulty trying to get out your train of thought.
Well, and honestly, it was that very beginning part of the episode where they did the introduction of us. That was really the hard part because he literally did have a specific line that he wanted me to say after. Like I said, it was kind of ad-libbed at first, but then he's like, let's do it like this. Yeah. Now I can put a little emphasis on that. And then realistically,
and this was right away.
Yeah, first thing in the morning, right?
Yeah, camera shoved in your face. And there's Josh. We're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and then also, Heidi was messing it up, so I was like, throughout the timing for me, and I was like, So it was for me that was probably the most difficult part.
So the order that we saw the video was the order it was filmed throughout the day.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like when we go out, if we found 20 things, I might in the video change the order up so that it just fits a certain narrative, or if I don't want one guy to find 5 things. So when you set up in the morning and you did your intro of who you are, let's go after it. That was the first thing, and that was your first real introduction to Josh and your first time in the camera.
In the camera.
100%.
We did introductions first. Like I said, when Josh came driving up and he drove himself, he was waving out the window, "Hi guys, how's it going?" And so then he came up, introductions were made, here's what we're planning on. This is what we're, the kind of the general overall, what he wanted to do for the day and talk about the introduction of everybody and all that. So yeah,
he's surveying the land too. He's surveying immediately, like, all right, where are we going to set up? Okay, let's use this. No, let's use. But the producers got there ahead of him, so they already had some of that stuff in their head as far as where they here. Josh, we thought we would start here, and then he would either accept it or not. But after he got on site, he completely took over all that. You know,
was there any talk of like? Was there any talk of like, what if there was inclement weather? Like, what if it was going to rain that day? Was it going to get delayed? Were you just going to do it in the rain? Was there any discussion of that?
No idea.
Okay,
No.
so you didn't know.
Yeah, the week before, I mean, it was dry and sunny all week long, so it was never really an issue. It didn't come up at least that week before because it was Colorado in the fall and it was dry.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Did you hear from any friends or family members that you maybe didn't tell but happened to catch the episode and they're like, "Hey Jeff, I saw you on it," like any of those moments? Because I'm sure with on demand and things like that, you know, people are going to catch this days later, weeks later. So it's only been one day. It might be a premature question, but anything like that where someone stumbled across it accidentally?
Not that I've noticed, but I mean, you know, I went to work today, you know, a working guy, so I didn't get a chance to, you know, to be on social media much at all today. So,
okay,
none of that. At least, you know, I have some family down in Texas that might have, you know, seen it, but they might have seen it on Facebook already that I was going to be on there. So, yeah, and we all three promoted the heck out of it, and Stephanie, my girlfriend, promoted the heck out of it as well.
Yeah,
that's how I saw it. I saw you guys posting maybe 2 weeks ago, which. I guess that's when your NDA, you were allowed to post about it.
Yes.
Was it hard keeping that secret for 5-6 months that you guys did this phenomenal thing, but you couldn't say anything? Like, I'm sure your spouses knew and maybe some close family, but like, I'm sure you wanted to like scream it from the rooftops. Did you have a hard time, you know, biting your tongue over this long period?
I think
we were waiting for it.
Well, part of it was, honestly, I was president of the Eureka Treasure Hunters Club at that point in time. Ken was the guy doing all our multimedia stuff. We had a person lined up to, you know, do a talk. And the meeting was the day.
Yeah, we had a meeting Friday night.
Night. We didn't make it back yet. So everyone was like, what's going on? So, yeah, it was a bit harder to hold that in. All three of us were gone out of the meeting, a little conspicuous.
But, yeah, we had to back out of the meeting.
Even the other Eureka Club members didn't know.
No.
Because that's how they got a hold of you, through the Eureka Club. So you even had to hold it from your brethren.
Yeah. And to Jeff's point, we were the ones that basically holding the meeting. So we all of a sudden we back out of nowhere. Everyone else is like, "What? What's going on? How come they're both going to miss?"
And it was last
meeting?
minute. It was like within 10 days.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's tough.
We couldn't tell anybody. We're like, it's just an opportunity that came up. We can't not take it. Sorry. Find something else. Figure out
whether they got a hold of me through Eureka. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm out there on a lot of places.
Yeah, but you said they called your personal cell number. That's not out there. I'm assuming.
No, it is.
Well, it is on our newsletter.
Every week on Relic Roundup, I give out my cell phone number.
You give out your personal. Okay. Well, there we go.
So, plus, you're on our newsletters. You know what I mean, Jeff? I thought they found you through Eureka. That's what I thought.
And that is a possibility.
But search metal detecting clubs in Colorado. Eureka comes up.
Yeah, I'm sure that comes up. Was there any other finds, notable or not, that you thought may have made the episode that just for time reasons got cut out?
I've got a little short video, and I don't even know. I think I reminded Ken, Jeff, you may not even remember this, or I may not even told you this. This was something I had found pretty early on that I didn't even call. I knew what it was. I didn't even call over the crew because knowing what it is, it doesn't fit the timeline. Nope. So this is just a Colorado tax token from the 1930s. So I knew as soon as I dug it, with it being square with the hole in the middle, it says Colorado tax token on it, or tax assessor. It's either I think it's a 2 1/4 tax token. Yeah. So I knew what it was. There's no reason for that to actually make the show.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Did you show them after the fact?
I think I gave it to the owner. I just gave it to him. I knew it wasn't relevant. It wasn't what they were looking for. To me, it's a really cool find. I love tax tokens.
I think it's really cool too.
Yeah.
Did you find that? Whoops, I keep doing that. Did you find that, Tony, before or after your pin?
Before. Well before. I think this was my first target.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, we found this very, very early on.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I was going to say, are the landowners planning on putting like a shadow box or something together? There was a find during the show. I forget who found it. It was a piece of scrap, like the lid of a paint can that matched the color of the cabin. And, Josh alluded that guy who, he maybe he did it as a kid. Like, that's still a piece of that puzzle, even though it's trash. It still fits, into the timeline of the property. Are the homeowners planning on putting a shadow box together or work with the local historical society because it's such a local, historically significant place?
We can get back to the house if you want, but I guarantee you that thing's already in a shadow box hanging on their wall somewhere.
Yeah.
They're about
here's the
history.
picture that you wanted.
Okay.
They're all about history, and they literally, when they're remodeling, they were discovering this wall behind the wall, and so they literally framed it out and said, "We're keeping this and showing it off. This is inside their house."
Oh, I don't remember. Was this in the show? I don't recall seeing it.
No.
So behind the wall, they found that old wallpaper, and they decided to leave it exposed.
And the wainscoting, it was all original. They loved it.
What year did they estimate that wallpaper is from?
I don't know if they knew, because they don't know when it was applied, but it was the original. It was the original wallpaper. That's how they put it.
So you're talking like 1870s or so, 70s, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
They were so interested in the history of their home, and so they enjoyed showing us their home, because they probably don't have too many people up there that are going to freak out over it like we did. Like, we're a bunch of nerds for historic items. Like, we just get absolutely nerdy about it. And Tony and I were like, no way, for a piece of wallpaper.
That
this
right
thing
there
right here. We're like, oh my gosh, look at that. It's got Butcher.
What is that?
Butcher Mansion.
And
Ken, discuss this.
Yeah, what is it? What are we looking at, Ken?
So this is zoom out from it. This was a piece of, what did we say this was?
This is from the tub. This is from the bathroom tub. Original
right.
tub.
So they had this old tub in there, like a freestanding tub, and just parts from it. So like the training and all that stuff. And she just kept these pieces because they were cool pieces. But you look at that, it says at the top, Coulter Betcher Plumbing Company. Okay, so Betcher becomes a very influential family in Colorado, to the fact that up in the mountains there is the Betcher mansion, which is a very, very huge. What's that, Tony?
Mansion. You were right.
Yeah, mansion, and it's an event center now, and it's up on the top of this mountain, up near Lookout Mountain. It's beautiful, and one of our good friends from our detecting club passed away recently, and we had his memorial up there, and it was kind of cool. This Betcher name is really cool, and now you look, it's like, okay, this is back when they were actually a small plumbing company before they were this big prominent company in Colorado.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And that was in a shadow box that they had in the bathroom on the wall.
Oh, that was already there. You didn't find that. That was in the house.
No.
Oh, I got you.
But it just shows you their appreciation.
Yeah.
Their appreciation for the history of their home and the items that were within it. So they were our people. You know what I mean? They were one of us. And they were enjoying our excitement of them showing us. They have a glass lamp with a large globe.
There's a picture.
That's the stove. Yeah.
Oh, that's the stove. Okay.
The original stove.
Yeah, the original stove.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Really was.
And they paid good money to get it restored, because part of it had broken.
Yeah, that stuff is not cheap either to get restored like that.
No.
I think they redid the top.
Yes.
With you guys being all local to this story yourselves, had any of you ever heard this mystery of these missing whiskey cases, or even of this Wyndham the fourth guy, or was that all new to your ears?
It was new to me.
I know the story of the whiskey I had not heard, but I will let a little bit out of the bag. There's a ghost town not far from Estes that's called Dunraven. And that was a site that I had, and Ken and I had kind of located on a map. And, you know, I'm just a collector of maps. I have maps everywhere, and maybe we'll get out there someday, but it's printed out, you know, circled different spots in the ghost town of Dunraven that was named after the Earl of Dunraven, because they went to Estes Park as being that, but this small little offshoot a little bit further to, I think, the north of where we were, was actually called the town of Dunraven. So do you know about it? Yeah, I had heard Dunraven. You start going down that rabbit hole of, well, what the heck is Dunraven? It tells you about the Earl and all this kind of different things. But the story about the whiskey cache, no, I knew nothing about that.
I didn't know his history either. The fact that he had bought up all of Estes Park and all that stuff and had hunting parties there and stuff. Like, I didn't know any of that until we started doing this episode, till we filmed this episode. Then I did a full research on him, you know.
There's a picture.
They told us about it. What they did was they told us about it. And I mean, you don't want to give us something that we don't know about, because it's going to consume us then. And you just start doing the research yourself and then figuring all these different things out, which then leads to then, oh, there's a ghost town named Dunraven, and kind of all, you start putting pieces together. So we didn't know much about it initially, but you know, once they said, hey, this is what we're going to do, forget about it. I mean, it was hours of research for us just to know and really appreciate what we were out there doing.
Yeah, this is a picture of the Wyndham Quinn, 4th Earl of Dunraven, who I've never heard of him, unfortunately, but is even Buffalo Bill. I'm not familiar with your area. Is Buffalo Bill like a prominent, legendary? Because I guess I picture him more further west. Like when I hear Buffalo Bill, I didn't picture him as being like Colorado, but I never really looked into it. But I guess that the stories of Buffalo Bill in your area are quite prominent, I'm guessing.
Absolutely.
Huge.
Yeah. And Cody, Wyoming, you know, I mean, that's obviously huge for Buffalo Bill Cody. So,
but Josh kind of alluded that that's like 600 miles away. That's
sure.
Well, there's not much in Wyoming. There's not much there.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, we have, you know, the major spots in Wyoming, we still have a connection to in Colorado.
So if they called you again tomorrow and said, hey, guys, I need you next week, we're doing another episode, your overall experience, do you jump on that?
Got to go.
Bag your pack. I'm ready.
Is there anything about it where if they said, hey, guys, we want your input for the next episode, is there anything you would have taken from your episode and done different if you had any say in how the day went and how the episode appeared on screen?
That's a great question.
That is.
I'm not just a pretty face, Tony. I'll go around and give everybody a chance. I'll start with you, Tony. If you could have changed anything based on being there, what would you have done differently, if anything? And don't say less Josh, more Tony.
I honestly, it might sound cool, I would not change a thing. I was very happy about the interaction. I feel extremely confident in saying that our involvement was 100% real. So there's no questions about that. You know, interacting with Josh, and I mean the storytelling, I wouldn't change a single thing.
All right, that's good. How about you, Ken? Would you have changed anything? I know, you know, you look at it through a YouTube editor's eyes. Is there anything you would have done differently, or, you know, showed something more prominently? Give me your take on it.
Yeah, not from that angle, man. They were pros, man, and how they edited it was very impressive. On how they, and I've now watched it a few times, and
I'm sure
their timing. And if you watch it back, Jason, and put on those glasses,
I watched it twice.
Count how many times they change scene.
Oh, it's incredible. I love the fast edits, the fast swaps, a lot of B-roll for photos, and just so much goes into it. So much.
Constantly moving. So I thought that was just absolutely amazing. The only thing I would have changed about it is I would have made sure that Ken King guy found more stuff.
Yeah, get that Ken King guy front and center. And make him look taller in the pictures.
I'll never forget that, Jason. That's awesome.
How about you, Jeff? Anything you would have liked to have seen differently?
I don't think so. Honestly, I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I'm agreeing with Tony 100%. You know, it was so natural when we're out there. And the only time it seemed like, you know, true production things going on is when all right, let's do that take again because, you know, like you're saying, the car went by or, you know, something like that. That's the only true production part of it. You know, yes,
it felt like you were out hunting with your buddies.
We were hunting with our buddies. That's exactly it. You know, I did have one good line that I thought was going to get caught in the episode.
Give me the line. Go ahead. Spit the line out here, Jeff. What was the line?
So I'm up there hunting with Josh up in the woods. He's further up the hill than I am. And all of a sudden I hear him, hey, I got something over here. And I start walking that way. And because he has the camera crew with him. And, you know, I get there and look down and sure enough, I help him pinpoint it. And it turns out to be a couple nails, square nails. And then there's a round nail, wire nail in there too. I'm like, you know what? This is right era. You know, it's kind of that transition time between, you know, square nails and round. And I go, you know, and you know, we start talking about the history of the nails and when they started, you know, going from square to the wire nails and all that. And I look at him and I hand him the nails and go, you nailed it, Josh. and he looks at the cameras and go, don't blame me, people. You know, write your letters to Jeff over here. You know, and you start going through that. And we did that take probably 4 or 5 times as well because it was all spontaneous. It was literally just two guys giving each other the business out there. And so he liked it, and we did it like 3 or 4 times, and I thought it turned out well. Didn't make the episode. I know he's done it in a few other episodes similar to that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And that's what I want to say. A lot of the speech, a lot of the text between us, the talking between us was spontaneous, and he encouraged that. And that's what it was. And then he'd pick up on something.
Yeah.
And because of his muscle memory and him being the Hollywood type guy and since 2015, he's been doing this. He was like, oh yeah, that's good. Right. So like that was spontaneous of Jeff. Like he didn't tell him, oh, tell me you nailed it, Josh. Like nothing was set up like that, except at the beginning where he was having him kind of do the intro stuff. But it was more like, oh, that's good. Let's say that again. Hey, you come over here. And now he's setting up the cameras so that when he's catching this cool little tagline that Jeff just said, it's caught with very multiple angles and stuff.
No,
so
I like it.
That's mainly what it was. Taking stuff organically and then going, oh, I like that. Yeah. Can you say that again? Because that's a good line.
The show flows.
Yeah. Agreed.
I have 2 more questions, and I'm going to open it up. If anybody in the chat has a question for the guys about the show, the production, put them in now. We've been going for almost 2 hours.
Dang.
I'll look. It goes quick, doesn't it? But I have 2 more questions, but I'll keep an eye out if anybody else has any questions. One of mine was, the end of the episode, you guys are all sitting around. Josh brought out a bottle of whiskey he bought. You're kind of, celebrating a successful day together. So when the camera cuts off after that, give me the end of the day for you. Do you just shake hands, get in your car and leave? Do you mill around with the crew for a little bit? Give me the behind the scenes of when the cameras are done shooting for the day. How does it really end before you all drive home?
Well, like I said, we were all in Tony's truck. So we all 3 left together on that note. I think I had 2, if not 3 shots.
There wasn't much left in the bottle by the time we left.
No. So we all, because we did film that. We all did actually drink our shots on camera, and I think I know we did it at least twice. And
people that haven't seen the show, you guys want to let them know what you're talking about with the shots?
Yeah, there's a picture right there, Jason.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tony. Yeah. Go ahead. Give me the lowdown if they didn't see it yet. But and again, if you didn't see it, guys, make sure you check it out. It's on Discovery Network, Discovery Plus app. I'm sure it's available at this point through your Hulu or YouTube Live, however you get TV. But we're just kind of recapping. But go ahead and set up. This was the end of the entire episode. Let us know what was going on here.
Here, actually, Josh is actually doing a toast, and one that he said that he thinks Buffalo Bill would do. And so we're actually doing a toast, and this is actual real whiskey. It wasn't, poured water. So it was good.
I've got a picture of the bottle here too.
Oh, you have a picture of the bottle? Let's see.
Oh yeah.
I don't like Scotch. This was Scotch. I don't like Scotch at all. And I loved this. I am now.
And again, I mean,
it had nothing to do with the atmosphere, did it, Ken?
The pictures down already that Tony just had up. But again, did you see the background scenery with the mountains? Did he set up that shot specifically, Tony? Like, all right, guys, I want this in the background. It just looks Colorado-y. Or was even
there's another picture there, Jason. Pull that up.
Oh, there's the bottle.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's 16-year-old Scotch.
Lagavulin. It's called Lagavulin.
Scottish Scotch.
All right.
Scottish Scotch.
And they brought over the tree stump there, poured it. You know, there's some different shots about pouring and
it's like a big shot too, Tony. That's like overflowing.
Hadn't quite poured yet.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, he basically said that, you know, we didn't find the whiskey, but he was able to grab this bottle with the company dime and all that stuff and made jokes about it. But I tell you, it's so funny. I got video and tape of it also, or photos of it. How much went into the shot of him pouring the shot of whiskey, Jason?
I've got the footage right here.
It was a masterful
as you're talking about it. Yeah, let me pull this up as you're talking about it. That's a perfect segue. Jeez.
Well, this is a nice bottle of Scotch. You know, 16-year-old Scotch. It's not your average dime store bottle of whiskey. I mean, he pulls the cork and he goes, "Woo, that sounded good." Put it in, pulled it out again. Put it in, pulled it out again. So
recorded it. Yep.
Okay, here we go. I'll start it. You can do the voiceover.
Yeah. Hey guys, let's drink some whiskey. Okay, let's do it. No. Yeah, so he's lining up shots. He's making sure he knows he doesn't have numerous takes of this. He wants to make sure they're going to capture stuff for slow motion of the whiskey going in the glass. He's already recorded the pop of the cork audibly.
What did I do?
You're already drunk, I think. Look at that. But anyways, yeah. So like he's like, "Oh, you got it? You got the shot? You tight? You close? You know, Joe, you good? Joe, you good? Brad, you good? Okay, here we go. You want me to do it slower? How much is that? You guys good with this?" Like he's asking us all this stuff.
Yeah. Actually, we had someone that wasn't a drinker, so I you know, they that part of it was fake for that one person. But the rest of us, you know, we all like our whiskey. At least 3 of us do.
Three of us.
Yeah.
So he poured those shots and then we kind of did it. I think we did 3 takes of doing shots, so it was good. And then after the camera cut, he actually poured shots for all the crew too.
Oh, really?
Off camera. The crew all did shots too. And I don't know if you noticed that shot that Tony had up that had green shot glasses. But basically those were Buffalo Bill Cody shot glasses that let me see if I can get it to focus, that he signed for us.
Oh, well, my next question was going to be, did you grab any sort of a souvenir of the day for yourselves, even if it's a stick or a rock? Did they give you the shot glasses or did you buy them locally?
They bought them for us and had Josh sign them for us as sort of a memento token for us to take with us.
And that was the only thing we got out of it. So
yeah.
Very
Except
cool.
I took his hat and his shirt and got a goodbye kiss and
that's cool.
Pat on the butt. Yeah.
He looked like he was a big guy too. He looked like he was about, what's he, about 6'2", 6'3"? He looked pretty big.
Yeah, he's a tall guy.
He's a tall guy, yeah. But here's what's cool. A couple things. I know that like Tony and I being YouTubers, right? We were like talking to the camera guys all the time. And they were just so open. They're like, "Here's what you got to do, man. You got to take multiple angles, multiple shots, film everything. And they were like, put stuff on the stick of your detector, like do all this stuff. Don't think you're going to get too much. Like they were just totally open and loving the fact that they could talk to us and try to impart some kind of their wisdom and their experience onto us, you know, as YouTubers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were totally cool.
That was kind of the send off was, okay, you know, guys, thank you so much. We had to say goodbye to everybody. And then Ken and I kind of wandered around and we pulled the ears of some people and we're like, okay, this is what you did. You know, why are you thinking that? Go walk us through it. And we probably stayed there an extra 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
I'd say
just bending ears. Yeah. Bending the ears of everybody on the production side. It wasn't like, Josh, hang out with us. It was like, you know, this is great, but I want to learn about the drone footage. What were you thinking? Why were you doing this shot? Why?
Yeah, well, you got professionals there. So you can
oh my God.
And look, man, we're all grown men, but that kid inside you still comes out, and you don't want the day to end. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you want to cherish the moments because it goes by so quick. I'm glad
the landowners didn't want it to end either. The landowners
like,
don't go.
It's fun for everybody. And now it looks like you took a lot of footage. Will you put out like a video of like all the extra behind the scenes things that you guys took? Is there anything like that people can look forward to if they want, even more deep dive into what you captured when the cameras weren't rolling?
I don't think I will.
No,
I don't think I will.
I have a lot of footage.
I love the mountains. It just looks it looks photoshopped. It's a beautiful setting.
Yeah, it was.
Estes Park is one of the most beautiful places on earth.
You just got a great day there too. You got a great day with just a little bit of overcast, some clouds rolling in. I mean, it was really picturesque. Like I said, when Josh was on the hill on that mountain, looking for the grave, there was a wide shot, like I said, of the river and the mountains. It was just gorgeous.
I was trying to grab it.
I couldn't get a still of it, but it was amazing. I mean, really picturesque.
I've got another off the cuff video here. Let's pull this up. This is essentially Estes Park summed up in about 20 seconds right here.
Yeah, see that huge herd of elk over there? Listen, no, you can't hear it.
I say,
you can't hear it.
The audio was there. I mean, the sounds was incredible. This is.
You ever heard
bugling all
bugling,
morning,
Jason?
Have you ever heard of what? I'm sorry.
Elks bugling?
No, I've never heard that.
Oh,
yeah, when they're in mating and stuff, they just.
Let me share it again with sound. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, can you do that?
You can. Yeah.
I'll try to be quiet for a second, which is really difficult.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Give me a second to bring it up here. Sorry, guys. Off the cuff. Talk amongst yourselves.
I got something to say real quick. Jason, so you asked if we would ever do it again. Just so you know, I sent the main producer, a thank you email today.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thanking him for everything and how great the show was and all that stuff. And in it, I said it would be awesome if we were able to work together again in the future. If you ever get back to Colorado and need any help, keep us in mind. Or if you want to fly us to some remote French Polynesian island to do some metal detecting, we would be open to that as well.
Yeah. Even if it's maybe sets you up to get Josh on your show. Like I said, I've reached out to him months ago. He's a big star. I wasn't expecting to hear anything, but you have now a personal connection. That would be great. And maybe you can swing that. So
we were that close.
Yeah, we were so close.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to work on it for sure.
Hold on. I'm going to be quiet because he's got some audio of elks. What do you call it?
Bugling.
Bugling. All right, let's hear.
Let me turn it up. See
that was not an elk.
No, here we go.
It's hard to hear.
I think it's right here.
Oh, yeah. It sounds like a donkey almost.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of it.
Now that's part of their mating ritual, I guess.
They squeal and call. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Tony went running over there. I was like, Tony, don't do it. Don't.
Now is October hunting season in Colorado? I'm not a hunter, or is that a little too early? Were you nervous you might hear gunfire in the background?
Well, this is still, as you can see in the background there, where those elk were. There actually is a golf course there.
Oh, okay.
It is literally I don't think we're within city limits at that point in time, but there's still going to be regulations there. Hunting season here begins in late August, early September with bow and arrow, and then goes into the muzzleloader seasons. Then you start getting into the rifle seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4, which run in October.
Yeah, so. Charlie, you used to go out west, didn't you, for hunting trips?
Yes, Wyoming, out there in southern part of Wyoming.
Yep.
For elk specifically?
Yes, elk and mule deer, yes.
Okay, cool.
And the location of Estes Park is right outside of Rocky Mountain National Park, which obviously there's no hunting, but that area is heavily populated with these elk. I mean, if you do any sort of searching for Estes, it's all about elk because the elk population and the herds that are there are insane, as well as the eastern side of Rocky Mountain National Park, which is there's an entrance right. Somebody questioned Stanley Hotel. It's right outside the Stanley Hotel, right there. So everything's protected. There's no way you're gonna be hunting over there.
Thank you.
Right.
Unfortunately.
And honestly,
they're everywhere.
Yeah, I've been up there to Estes Park golfing in the middle of summer and had to dodge elk on the golf course.
Yeah, so, they're everywhere.
Yeah, they don't have elk around our area, so that's an interesting thing to see. You know, that close to you, they look huge too.
They are huge. If you get close to them, they're very huge, especially the bull elk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you try and carry one out of the mountains on your back,
especially you're playing around the golf, and if it's during the rut and you get like some horny male elk charging at you,
you don't want to be anywhere near them.
You better hop in there.
Nope.
Well, I'm out of questions, guys.
I was telling you, Jason, towards that shot, towards the end at the shot, and this was something that just kind of shows like how comfortable everyone was around each other. He was trying to talk. He was trying to think what kind of toast he was going to do and what he was going to say. He was kind of kicking it around. He's like, okay, so should I, to his producers, and we were all standing there in formation, like we were going to get ready to do a shot. And he's like, okay, so guys, here's what I'm going to say, guys. I'm going to say blah, 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 the Buffalo Bill Wild West show, blah, blah, blah. And the producer goes, Josh, stop. He goes, whatever you do, don't say Buffalo Bill Wild West show. You will get barbecued on social media for that. It is the biggest faux pas anybody can do. He goes, you will get lambasted in comments if you say Buffalo Bill Wild West show. You guys remember that? And he turned to me and he turned to you guys. He's like, it's the Buffalo Bill Wild West show, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's what it is. And he goes, yeah, that's bullshit. He goes, I'm going to say Buffalo Bill Wild West show. And his producer was like, don't do it, Josh. Just don't do it. It's called the Buffalo Bill Wild West. And Josh goes, what?
No show is not in.
He goes, what? He goes, oh, no, it's the Buffalo Bill Wild West show, right, guys? And we're like, why? He goes, I'm saying Buffalo Bill Wild West show. And he's like, don't do it, Josh. Do it. He goes, I can't say Buffalo Bill Wild West. That's just stupid. You know what I mean? But that's what it was. It was
called show too. So it's one of those things where I always thought that's what it was called, but I guess show is not.
It's like the Buffalo Bills Wild West. Like it's Neil deGrasse universe. You know what I mean? Neil deGrasse Tyson's universe. You know, he didn't like the whole show, even though on his death certificate he's named as a showman. That was his profession, right? On his death certificate. But still, I thought that was funny though. But how like incredulous, like Josh was like looking at all of us, like you got to be kidding me, man! I'm saying it. That's what it is, right? I was like, that's what I've always heard to say. He goes, yeah, that's what it is.
I always thought it was too. I mean, it was a show. And, an interesting fact on the show they said was that even back then, you're talking 1880s, give or take, he would sell out 20,000 people arenas for 3 months at a time. Two shows a day. And, how do you advertise in 1880? I mean, it's not like you can put it on your Facebook page. Like he was a huge megastar in a time when, you're talking before television, before, a lot of live theater. It really took off. It was really cutting edge what he was doing.
And I thought that was in England for Queen Elizabeth was the shows that they were selling out like that as well.
Well, that's what it was. Queen Victoria was the one they alluded to in the show.
Yeah.
But even to take that whole cast, all the horses, all the animals, all the, over the sea in boats, to do a 3-month tour over there, man, I mean, that you're talking about one organized, massive circus coming into town. Mm-hmm. So it was really impressive. I had no idea that all that took place.
And everybody's heard of Annie Oakley. She was a part of the show, with her skilled shooting with the rifle and stuff like that. So that's what that whole extravaganza was. It was quite a show.
And they made reference to of one of the famous Native American people that were in the show. Was Sitting Bull, was it?
I believe it was.
Yeah. So, I just always assumed they were all actors with my limited knowledge of that Buffalo Bill Wild West. But they use real natives. Annie Oakley traveled the country, big sellout arenas. I mean, 20,000. You're talking a baseball stadium of people. Huge. 2 shows a day in a foreign land. That's really impressive. So,
well, when they were talking about his history, it was kind of a somber moment actually when in the watch party. I know everyone got real quiet because, you know, he was a big Indian hunter. Like he was part of the Indian Wars, and he, you know, would go after him like a lot of people did back then. And then he also he got his name Buffalo Bill because he was a huge buffalo hunter. And, you know, part of kind of a bad mark on the America's push west, it is what it is, was the slaughtering of all the buffalo for their tongues and their hides. And I think in a show it said something like he killed 20,000 buffalo in what, like a summer or something like that, guys, or whatever.
Well, they said he killed 70 in an hour.
Yeah, this is what gave him his name. Yeah.
70 in an hour. Right.
Which I was a little surprised they put that fact in there, being that the buffalo now are like, I don't know if they're extinct, but they're very limited and protected. I almost thought that was an odd line to put in because you're glamorizing it, but I guess that's the mystique of the person.
Well, that's history too.
And once again, you know, I think Josh and their producers are, you know, they're not going to like put the really bad stuff out there, but they're also not going to shy away from
it's history.
Name.
Yeah,
you know, so they want the real story. This is how Buffalo Bill got his name.
Yep. But I remember in our watch party, it got real quiet, guys, at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where everyone was kind of feeling like, oh man, yeah.
Yeah, he was like the Barnum and Bailey of the Wild West, I guess. You know,
but you know, I think Buffalo Bill also, when he first started out, you know, yes, he was, you know, part of the Indian Wars, but he also became that because he was a hunter for the buffalo, and he actually fed the military, which is why he got involved in it. And I think later on he came into being part of the military as well. So.
Yeah, and then he repaired his relationship with the Native Americans. It did touch on that he had repaired his, because he had a bad reputation with them, you know, of course, and then he had kind of really grown close to them. You know, for him to be able to appear on stage with, you know, Sitting Bull, that's pretty huge. But
when I'm Googling it again now to refresh my memory, but when I was watching the episode and it said that he got his start in the Civil War, I was like, wow, how old was he? So I Googled him real quick, and he was born in 1846. So during the Civil War, he was a teenager, you know, out there, you know, I don't know if he was a scout or if he was, you know, shooting other people, but I mean, he was a baby, you know, by today's standards, you know, out there doing, you know, things that, you know, would make grown men get scared today. So just a different world. And it wasn't that long ago that the whole world was just so much different, where a 16-year-old is doing missions for the Army as they push forward. Right. Just really amazing how we evolved in 150 years, how much things have changed.
Yeah,
for sure.
It is.
Well, on that note, guys, I'll give you all the last thing and we'll cut out of here. It's really late. I appreciate everybody hanging tight. Tony, I'm sure you had a great time. Give me your last thoughts of your whole experience of being a super mega TV show. Oh, and I will say real quick, guys, based on my little bit of experience of getting on a TV show once, when the show was over and at the end of the season, when the DVD came out, there were extras that didn't air in the show. So if I'm assuming a big show like this will put out a season ending DVD, you might want to order a set or at least look it up. You might have more stuff in there. I'm telling you, you forget about those things, but Tony, give me your overall impressions.
Yeah, for me, great experience. Loved hanging out with Josh. You know, 100% true to what you see him as, and you know, reiterate again, 100%. Our involvement was completely wild. Nothing was staged or planted or anything like that, and just great to hang out with these two guys, my buddies, and then, you know, be involved in that. It's kind of a once in a lifetime thing. So I'll definitely come away with some good memories, and want to thank this guy right here, Jeff, for putting it together for us. Appreciate you.
Yeah, it sounds like Jeff really gave you guys a treat there, because I guess he could have invited anybody or just took his girlfriend. So you guys owe Jeff a dinner, it sounds like. Ken, give me your overall impressions. I'll hit Jeff last since he was the orchestrator.
Yeah, not enough thanks goes to Jeff. I know that we, Tony and I both appreciate it. You know, he could have thought of other people, and for him to reach out, I know we're buddies, but for him to reach out and say, yeah, guys, let's go do this. We were very, very blessed to get that call. And it was a lot of fun. I had a blast just the whole day, meeting amazing landowners that were so gracious, you know, open invitations for us to come back. And if they're listening right now, we will definitely be seeing you soon. There's definitely more to find there. I think we hit some hot spots just as we were leaving. So we definitely want to go back and see them and see what we can find for them, because they appreciate the history so much. But love digging with these guys. My impression of Josh, he could have went so many different directions. He could have went really Hollywood on us. Didn't know who he was very pleasantly surprised of who he is. And totally like respect that guy now like crazy. And we'll tell anybody that asks me. I've been on Reddit kind of talking about it and stuff. And but yeah, fun experience. Loved the edit, everything. We all got camera time. I think that was cool. You know, because we were thinking like, how awkward would it be, right? Like if Jeff and I got on, but Tony didn't.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Worry about that.
How do you do that? How do you work amongst yourselves?
How do you work that? Now we all have the great experience. So even if none of us got on, we still have that experience to fall back on. So
yeah, I'm sure. And then from a show perspective, if they're inviting 3 detectorists out, you know they're going to show everyone's going to get their minute or they wouldn't bother. So I'd be shocked if they cut Tony or anyone he is out. I thought it was done really well. Jeff, Mr. Orchestrator of this magical moment and the a curator for metal detectorists around the world, give me your final thoughts on being a big TV star, at least for the week.
I'd say my 15 minutes. That was it. Truly. 15 minutes of the last 15 minutes of the show was ours. But yeah, it was truly a kick in the pants. Do it again in a heartbeat. Like I said, we didn't get anything but a shot glass out of it, you know, and some airtime. So yeah, I guess I have a credit now. I have to go look at. I didn't know.
Can we see his resume again?
Yeah,
I'll bring it up. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, just want to make sure we get that up there again.
Yeah, you keep talking. I have to reach through it
again. You know, I was out there with good friends and would do it again in a heartbeat. You know, if they want us to go up to Wyoming or Nebraska or Kansas, yeah, we'll do it in a heartbeat and without a question.
Yeah,
truly got to reiterate what Ken was saying. That yes, Josh is the real deal. Thanks, man.
This is directly off the IMDb database. Jeff, when are you anticipating getting your SAG card?
Well, probably it'll have to be next summer, would be my guess. The way things are going right now, yeah, it'll probably be next summer.
I'm going to go back and check the website in a day or two and see if Tony and Ken got it up there. Maybe they'll throw you all a bone, but
we're not going to live this
Jeff
down.
Lubbert, and if you click on that link, like I said, I didn't queue it up, but it does bring you to Jeff Lubbert's page on IMDb, which only has the one lonely credit at the moment. But who knows? Maybe they'll build.
No idea.
Say, yeah, I wonder, because actually when I did that other episode of Forensic Files, I did have a line in that show when they originally aired it. When I went back and viewed it, I don't know, a few months ago, because people were asking me if I'd done stuff like that before, and they cut out my line in the shows now. So I'm like, yeah, maybe that was my episode. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going through my note. I had one more question. Just a quick one. And if it's an uncomfortable one, you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer. Did you get paid anything, guys? I'm thinking you probably made like $100, $50. If you got nothing, who cares? Did you leave there with some greenbacks in your pocket?
The whiskey glass.
So no money changed here. The IRS might be watching, Jeff. So your secret's good with me, brother.
Tony,
$4.99 or $7.99 shot glass. I don't think that'll go on our on the the year-end tax report.
All right, there we go. There we go.
That's right. Autograph.
Tony and I did the show for the UK on the BBC, and we did that show. We got paid for our time, and it got paid pretty good. But that not this time. We asked about it. We asked about it, and they just didn't have the budget for it. So
I think everyone watching would have done it for free. I think people may have paid money out of their own pocket just to be part of it. So the experience is the priceless part.
Yeah.
Hey,
we knew that going in that there was no compensation, so we still made a decision to be involved with it.
Oh, no brainer.
Knowing, so
No-brainer.
Obviously it was a no-brainer, of course.
Yeah.
For sure. I just
Yeah,
want to see
in 2 weeks, there's another episode coming up in 2 weeks on the show where they're using a bunch of metal detectors from North Carolina. So a bunch of my friends are in that. So make sure you're paying attention to that. I think they're going after a pirate, maybe going after a lady pirate that was back in North Carolina. I think I might be getting that wrong. So check it out. But in 2 weeks, definitely more metal detectors from our community going to be.
I saw on Facebook too. So yeah, like I said, check it out, guys. Discovery. If you haven't seen it yet, 15 seasons of Expedition Unknown. Great show. From what the guys say, Josh is the real deal. Great guy. So make sure you go check it out. Throw a Discovery Channel a bone. And Adrian Tucker threw up that can I pay my guest $1,000 per visit? So
sweet.
Yeah, just send me your some of your PO box.
You can
Charlie
Venmo.
actually sends it out. Comes from Charlie's back.
Do that. I thought of one more thing I wanted to say about Josh being a real guy, real one of us, real appreciate. He's been doing this, right? He's been traveling all over the place. He's been all around. He asked Tony immediately about his Manicore. Hey, how do you like that Manicore? You know, he didn't even have to say what kind of machine is that. Like, oh, you know, he looks at Jeff. Jeff has been wearing that necklace around his neck as long as I've known Jeff.
What's on the necklace, Jeff?
It is a 8 real from Posse, Bolivia, minted in 1677.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's a big treasure coin, right? And Josh shot it immediately and said, hey, yeah, is that? Is that from the mint of blah, 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 blah? Like he knew the mint it came from. Or he asked him if it was from this certain mint. And it was, right, Jeff? What did he ask you?
The Posse mint.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he knew it.
That, so
he recognized it.
Yeah.
He recognized it right away and like knew what it was. And like,
but yeah,
could
I think
shop with Jeff.
I think he was, thinking it was from the Atocha, if I remember right.
That's what I would have guessed. Yeah.
From the Constellation, sank in 1681.
Well, like you said, not only doing this show for 15 seasons, but he is an actual archaeologist. So I'm sure he knows what he's doing.
He does.
So that is really impressive.
Yeah. And yeah. So, if you look at some of the early seasons, they're bringing in detectors for him to use. And he was like, how do you run this thing? Now he's, after 15 years of doing that, he is the real deal. He has his own equipment. And yeah, I don't know. I assume Mind Lab said, hey, use the Equinox.
Well, Nokta already asked me when I talked to him earlier. They're like, see if you can get him a Nokta. I said, I don't know him. You go ask him.
You're right.
So, all right, we're going to wind it down. I want to thank everybody. Again, Tony, you can check him out at 5280 Adventures on YouTube. Of course, Ken, Adventures in Dirt on YouTube. Jeff is with the American Digger Magazine on YouTube. Make sure you guys check him out. I'm sure they'll be talking about it for a couple of weeks. Super exciting for the whole community. And thank you guys for sharing your night with us and going over what happened behind the scenes.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thanks,
for having us.
It was my
Thanks,
pleasure.
Charlie.
Nice seeing you again, Charlie.
Take care.
See you.
Take care, guys.
All right, we're going to wind it down. So, hey, thank you for watching, everybody. Happy hunting.
Thanks everyone
And
in
we'll
the chat.
see you on the next one.
See you all. Yeah.
Later.